I don't know. Setta don't know the hip-hop history, but a lot of people know I'm the rap god, Casual, you know what I'm saying, from the Hieroglyphics crew. If you don't know, just type in hieroglyphics.com. But I came to deal with my brother Sa about this information.
Peace and black power, family. As you can see, this your brother Setta bringing that real goddamn information. And you already know what it is. A lot of you know him from the Armin Raw Squad. But how many of you know him from the rap crew? This is a powerful brother, the legend, Casual Rap God. You already know what it is. He also comes out of, he's a member, he's affiliated with the Armin Raw Squad. So you already know what it is. As soon as the Hebrew Israelites hear the Armin Raw Squad, they are off into the attack. Make no mistake about it. Can this member, Brother Jonathan, from the Armin Raw Squad, withstand the pressure? That remains to be seen. But you already know, carrying the name of the Armin Raw Squad, that's a heavy weight on your shoulder.
City, Virginia, ATL, Georgia, Frederick, Maryland, and New York, New York,
Princess Lanita,
and Sarnetta
TV.
Sarnetta.
Peace Hotel. Welcome again to Sarnetta Studios, Sarnetta TV. Without Sarnetta, all this enlightenment would not be happening. So we are so happy to be in the studio today with Brother Casual, straight from Cali, to answer some questions. I know that some of you think that Nile Valley has taken a hit, right? But sometimes we sit back and we collect information and see a fact, what's out there. So if you thought that what GOCC did would go unanswered, that would have been completely foolish, right? So we're gonna go in. I'm not gonna spend too much time, but I am gonna say let's start with GOCC debate debunking Shaka Amos. Did you see that?
Yeah, I seen the reply from GOCC, and it was the demeanor was cool. I like how that is how you present a refutation, so to speak, as far as their presentation was concerned. As far as the information, a lot of the things they put forth is still debatable, and a lot of the things they put forth, I don't know if people realize, but it did not discredit Shaka's premise, which was that the Bible has been plagiarized from Kemet. Now, me personally, I know a lot of us know the certain script that were attestations that were taken, or the proverbs that spilt over from, Kemetic theology or Kemetic spirituality over into Israelite theology. But not being aware of that, some people might what's his name? The brother Awan ASAP put forth a notion that certain abominations. Basically, his whole premise was that what Kemet did was an abomination to Israelites, and so therefore we couldn't even take it from their literature. That's a kind of an illogical argument, because the majority of the abominations committed in the Bible, which were committed by prominent kings of Israel, these weren't even abominations that you can trace back to Kemet. He tried to, but let's think about the first one he brought out was, we spoke on it earlier, passing through the fire, which was, in Hebrew, would be Baash. And really, if we go into this, it is a veneration to the god Moloch. Okay, Moloch ain't a Kemetic deity, and in the Bible, the way they venerated Moloch, you would burn your firstborn to the fire. You could either passing through the fire, what he thought, literally, he didn't go into depth, but it actually means to burn your firstborn against the wall to venerate a god Moloch. Now, no Kemetic pharaoh, no Nisut ever venerated or burnt their son to the fire. This is all something they was dealing with in the land of Canaan. So they're dealing with their own abominations. Yet, let me point something out. Solomon venerated Moloch. But in the Bible, we had the Songs of Solomon. So we see that his whole theory is blown out right there, that no abomination would prevent any attribute that's deemed holy from being written into the text. It's simple. Else you would not have the Songs of Solomon, because Solomon himself venerated Moloch. And so when he tries to, and even all of the, we can talk about various from various kings of Israel who are the ones who committed these abominations. It wasn't necessarily.
So here's the thing. Do they know Kemetic literature? Their premise is the Bible, right? But then they come back and they say that these are abominations, right? So if they are in fact Kemetic abominations, shouldn't they have the responsibility of revealing the particular text instead of just pointing out that these were abominations taken from Kemet, because they're not talking about who they were prior to coming into Kemet, if they came into Kemet, and they're not talking about who they were after they supposedly left Kemet, right? So we have that information. So what do you think about who were these people and what were they dealing with, right? Because they use us as kind of a litmus test as to the great evil, as if they didn't come from evil themselves. Let's talk about Ur Chaldea, and let's talk about some of the places and things that they said that they came from, because we get a chance now to look at their text, because they took advantage. This is what they did, Jonathan. They took advantage of Shaka Amos raised up breasted, and Shaka Amos was proving that he was well read. He should have been more respectful to our scholars, meaning Sheikh Anta Diop, Theophila Benga, Dr. Yosef Ben Jokanan, others, Sister Riketti Amen, Mario Beatty. We have a Association for the Study of Classical African Civilization, and a lot of young scholars that are not being Ifedishi Jahudimas. There are a lot of Nile Valley Africans, but he didn't put them in the forefront. What he did was he took, Shaka was saying that these Europeans have the text. Now we have the right to reread the text, because we don't have them. They have them. And so when they present them, we have a chance to look at it. But they don't have our literature. I'm talking about the Hebrew scholars. So let's talk about a little bit about the Hebrews, who they were in antiquity, who they are currently.
All right, well, you know, this Amara Squad, as far as we deal with it, if you want to be real antiquitous, you're not going to find any primary attestations that lead to an Abraham, a Jacob, a Isaac. You're not going to find that. And if you want to really get scholarly about it, and you're going to have to observe the documentation hypothesis, which is a theory that lets us know because there are stark contradictions in the Bible, and it's been worked out that these stories are left to us by different, let's just go through it, by Yahwist, by Elohist, by Deuteronomist, and by, who would be the last one? I think is the priestly tradition. Okay, now the Kohaim. Now the majority of the tradition given to us. Let's just walk through it. The Yahwist, you know, those who venerate Yahweh. The Elohist, those who venerate Elohim or El. Yeah, exactly. When we talk about Deuteronomists, we are talking about those who are primarily concerned with the law. But then when we talk about the priestly tradition had an effect on all of the literature, because this priestly tradition comes to us at a time when the Kohanim was exiled in Babylon. Okay, so we're talking about from maybe like 606 BC to even 587 BC. Okay, and so this is what the documentation hypothesis proposes. Now, when we start to look into the literature as to who these people were, we have times. Now, I'm not one who wipe away all of the literature of the Hebrew. I know it was exaggerated by those who were in captivity in Babylon in order to promulgate some great history so that their people could eventually be led back to their land of Jerusalem. But
were there any original documents, or when they left, when they were captured and put into Babylon, right? Was the stories now verbal, recited, or were there written material?
We actually do have some written material because we know I've seen you guys discuss the Elephantine Papyri before. Well, these were some of the exiles, you see what I'm saying, who had to try to make their way back down to Nubia in order to hide out in elephant.
When Babylon sacked the southern kingdom, right? Took them away, right? Is there any evidence of any written traditions or Hebrew traditions of that time? When they left, is it
evidence of Hebrew tradition
that they wrote?
Well, I never use the Bible as a book of archaeology, but we have to be fair in some sense that when the stories become contemporaneous to the people who they talking about, then it kind of can be used in a sense for those time periods, but you don't have no stories in the Bible coming from a person who's contemporary with Abraham. You see what I'm saying? So when we get after the Davids and the Hezekiahs, then we can sort of look into their literature for only those time periods and beyond.
But the time period of the kings of Israel.
Do
we have any written material
not,
of that time?
Somebody will bring out something,
besides
but
the Bible.
Not
the
nothing.
Bible is the primary source that talks about the Bible.
No, you know what they're gonna go to?
Yeah.
They're gonna go to a testament of. Well, they'll go to a few things when they try to look in Kemet. They'll look at it's. All right, there's a few things, and I don't want to missay anything, so I'm trying to be careful with my words. They find one so-called, well, the word Israel just ain't there. Let's first of all quit it. The only place they find that term is on the Mern Patastella, and that is debatable. We can discuss that. But when they go into Judah, they find the king of Judah written on the wall by Nisu, who was Shoshank, I think.
But it's coming from sources that are in ancient Kemet. It's not coming from any of their sources.
You're right. It's not coming from their sources, and it also predates that exile. That would go back to take us back to like 925 BC.
The same racist scholars that they turned on Shaka, right? They peek in those racist scholars to use it for their own antiquity self.
Well, they possibly would, but you know, I ain't want to throw out the baby with the bathwater. We also need to stand on our own ground, learn Medu Neter, and go back and correct the racist scholars, because that's the work we do. I'm not just saying it. I wrote a document called what's it called? Shalom. It's called Shalom. When Shalom was only stated by the cowering man. A good example why E.A. Wallace Budge is not a good source for the neophyte. Now, in the document, you can see the work we do as the Madjai, as the Amun-Ra squad. We learn the glyphs, and then we go back into it, okay, and correct their writing. So in my document, I'm showing you where E.A. Wallace Budge messes up. People will sit around and discredit him and be like, oh, you can't use E.A. Wallace Budge, but I have not seen anyone show you why he's discredited, and we do that in our work. And so if you don't got the prowess to go back and correct these European scholars because you don't know Medu Neter, then you faced with dealing with a secondary source anyway, you know what I'm saying? And that's kind of like some of the work we do, you know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question, brother. I got to ask you this question because this right here been hitting the community for a minute, and a lot of Hebrews tend to use this. They say there was homosexuality in ancient Egypt. They say that, I think, how the story go, Horus beat off on the head of letters, or Horus the one that ate it, or Set beat off on the head of letters, and he ate it. Talk to us about the homosexuality in ancient Kemet. Can you find homosexuality?
Of course not. All you will find is teachings against homosexuality. If now we talk about what first of all, if you just want to get elementary about it, we know that the main concern with Kemet was with dealing with the afterlife. A statement on line 27 in the, I think it's the Papyri of Nu, that says, I have not committed copulated with a man, or have not committed homosexuality. Now there, right there, when we are talking about admittance into the afterlife and the way that you should run yourself, we know the canon, so to speak, was for these things that we find in the precepts of Ma'at not to be committed or not to be done. Now let's just keep clear. Let's stop being childish. All a lot of things had to happen on earth in order for man to even establish taboo. I'm talking about when you coming from primitive man up into the civilization and the cultures of Kemet, a lot of things transpire for us even to know what we ain't supposed to be doing. So I would say a lot of things existed, but when you want to act like something was taught or canonized or cool, like we walking around America, you see it didn't happen like that. And we find we could put through every attestation you want to and deal with the actual language and the lingo. We can go to the Astrakhan they talking about where they have male-male relations. None of that stuff is true. But you mentioned a story. First of all, one of them didn't even, I don't care how much we want to act like we ain't with it. We know we don't have to be fake, okay? It's not cool, but you don't have to go overboard and act like things that aren't homosexual are homosexual just to be some, that's fake. Because I see through that and think it's something suspect about the way you acting. So when we talking about anything that we're supposedly Heru ejaculated on some lettuce and then ate it, that is nasty to us, yes. But as that is not a male-male relation. So we used to really deal with anything that you guys are pulling out because I do the homework. If somebody want to talk about a particular claim or anything that they want to talk about, we can just deal with it. You also mentioned Horus and Set. Now, honestly, the way to deal with that story is real. It is to be taught. First of all, let's get it clear. It's logged in Egyptology. I'm talking about the way they deal with it. It's logged as a satire, okay, as a parody, or not as. See, this is one mistake we make. We got so much literature coming from Kemet. Everything you get from Kemet, you find a piece of papyrus, and that don't mean it was canonized. That don't mean we're supposed to look at it like Hebrews do with the Bible, because they have so little archaeology that anything they find they want to act like it's something holy. We have the equivalence of what we call TV shows, or we have the equivalence of, you know what I'm saying, something that was meant to teach. And so when dealing with, first and foremost, another thing you also got to know, in every attestation that will bring up, you're going to find Set, the assailant of these wicked actions. Now we know what Set encompanies, and there's a time in life where children and adolescents have to be taught these things. You tell your son what to do and what not to do, and it was the same thing, but in these stories, it transpired by taking the evil or the personification of confusion as the assailant upon the good man. Now let's just keep it clear, because they talk, I just want to wrap it up. They talk about it and they mention the one part, but they don't mention how the story went down. When Set, who was Heru's mother, found out what Set had done or attempted to do, but he did not do it, actually it wound up on Heru's hand. And we also need to talk about these terms in Medu Neter so we can get a clearer understanding. The same term mutu, which is used for semen, is also a term for poison, and we got to be clear about that when we looking through and we find these terms and we see phallus. Actually, I'm just going to continue. Set was so enraged. First, the Medu Neter says she cried. Okay, so this action that Set attempted to commit on Heru caused the goddess to cry. Now, what mutu, whatever you want to call it, whether it's poison or semen that touched Heru's hand, it caused his own mother to cut off his hand. Okay? Now we got to go through the whole story. So, yeah, exactly. If Set gonna come through and cut off her son's hand because of exactly what happened, it's not going to teach a youth or adolescent they're gonna learn. Oh, this is something that I can't never be involved with. It was ways that we taught that were not necessarily you know what I'm saying? Like they say, they find every attestation from anything left in Israel, and they act like it's biblical. It's not like that with Kemet. There were many different ways to teach. But keep in note, not only did she cut off her own son's head, and not only did she cry, let out a loud shriek, it said, I can't remember the word for crying in Medu Neter, but all of the gods cried. All of them. The Enid, I think they was dealing with the Enid, or the Pasegit. We got two different ones, 9 of the 8 or whatever, but all of them cried. So when we talking about what I entered with was admittance into the afterlife, and then we talk about some of these stories that are left to let us know how people really led their life, it's only a fool or somebody who wants to vilify Kemet who would take little excerpts out of a text and acts like it was promoting something it was negating, you know what I'm saying?
All right, powerful, brother. I hope y'all appreciate this brother here, Jonathan, to clear up a lot of stuff out there, family. This brother is taking his time out to bring y'all some powerful information, so I hope y'all do appreciate it. And I'm going to try to get all of the questions out that I see that people is asking right now. What is the image, and what does this mean when you sucking your own peanuts? Because a lot of people, they see that image and they say, oh man, you know, well, what about, they say, well, what about the dude that's sucking his own peanuts? Isn't that gay? Isn't that homosexuality? Go in on that, brother.
First of all, let me let you know, I'm Madjai Misha, all right? The Madjai are the vanguards of Kemet. We come up from Nubia to protect Kemet when Kemet ain't holding it down. So that's why I'm inside Netta right now. Now, what you talking about, see, you dealing with the wrong person. You talking about the Papyrus of Hunefer, okay? And if anybody stop reading just the vignettes, that mean the little colorful picture, it's like reading a book and looking at the pictures and never reading the words. So first, to be qualified to even speak on the text, you got to know how to read the words. And then you will be able to share some of the understanding that I'm about to share with you. Now, you want to ask me? That's called autofellatio, and yes, in modern time, I would consider that homosexual. But let's just be clear: those are not male relations. This is autofellatio, and let me break it down for you. There's a little inscription next to it that says something like Geb Tef Neteru. All right. Geb Tef Neteru. Now, when we go back into these European scholars' work, we have to reappropriate it. So the word we're hinging on right now is Tef. Tef. Some say it's not Tef. They say it's At. European Egyptologists say it's At, which means father. So it says Geb, father the gods, right? Let me break it down. In my translation, this Tef also means to spit out. Okay, and now when you look at the vignette and you look at the metal netter, it could also make sense to say Geb, spit out the gods. Now, if you really want to know, Geb is the earth. Who is Geb? Okay, thank you. So now we have the earth. What it is a portrait of Geb's own self-sustainability. That's what it is logged as. Okay, now you can look at the image in your own childish mind and see whatever you need to see. But what they were trying to depict is that the earth was self-sustainable. Okay, now whatever image they used at the time, it might not be my choice. It might not be your choice either. But this is what was going on. You got to realize that we scrutinizing things that happened some 4,000 years ago. You know what I'm saying?
Very similar to the spitting and the spitting and use of semen in creation of the world.
Exactly. And so really, we're talking about Geb, okay, either fathering or spitting out the gods and his self-sustainability, as meaning that the earth is self-sustainable. Now, if you want to go look at the papyri of Hunefer at the British Museum and see what the curator has to say, he will agree with what I just told you, but you're going to find the European translation, which says, and I'm not discrediting it because it's European, but this is what they say. It says, Geb fathers the gods. But I'm telling you, Geb spat out the gods. It wasn't. You shouldn't look at the deity as a human. He was just in that form, in that being. What else they need to know about that?
Can you read Metu Neter? Because you know the Hebrew's going to ask you that. Can you read Metu Neter? Can you write it?
I can read Metu Neter very well. I can write Metu Neter very well. I don't think I'm not one of them dudes you can take an attestation and slap it up in front of me and not let me tell you what it means. At least, you know what I'm saying? Now, when it comes to doing the detailed work, we got to be honest and fair. It's words English words you don't know. You might need a dictionary dealing with Hebrew. So once you pick up the word order, the structure, the idioms, how they use idioms, and the basic words of the language, you can consider. I mean, it's not a term. Yes, I speak Metu Neter, I write Metu Neter, and I could display that publicly as I've done plenty of times.
There you go. Okay, now that you covered some of the issues on homosexuality in ancient Egypt, what about the Bible? Do the Bible teach homosexuality? Do the Bible subscribe to that? Do they condone homosexuality according to your information and knowledge?
Definitely not. I wouldn't say that they condoned it, but we find places where relationships pop up. What was up between Jonathan and Jesus? If I'm correct, Jesus had his John. Let's go in on that. They say Jesus had his John, but they don't know where that came from, right? That actually came from King James, because King James was an open homosexual. His favorite. Go look into the Privy Council. This was his council of people who was basically privy to his information. One of his main dudes was a guy named the Duke of Buckingham, Bucky. He called him Bucky. You know what I'm saying? He also had Earl of Somerset and a whole cast of men who were his favorites. But he was, in his time, he was challenged about his homosexuality, and what King James came out and said was, he like, why y'all tripping off me and my relationship with Bucky? You're gonna look up, is his address King? I like why is they on his head for being a homosexual when even Jesus had his John? Okay, so now you might have heard some homos using that phrase in order to hide inside of Christianity, but it really comes from King James' defense of his own homosexuality. So inside the literature, I say no, they deny it. You can see in Leviticus or wherever they saying you can't be no homo or whatever. But
you know about the Yerek oath?
No, I don't. You want to tell me?
The Abrahamic oath. The Abraham oath was he had a servant, and this servant had to grab Abraham's balls, his lions. Man. Right, and because these would be Abraham's children, and commit to Abraham, so it's called the Yerek oath. You can look it up.
Oh well, he hit us with the Yerek oath, so y'all can look into that. But honestly, I really don't do my research to like that. Like I ain't just spent years in the Bible looking for homosexuality. I defend Kemet, and we took some shots, so I spent at least a year and a half since that Nazi video come out. And let's just keep it clear, because the work that Brother Nazi Yasservell used to even start all of this actually comes from a cross-dressing homosexual. Okay, now when we look at people's work, you might want to say, is this scholar being objective, or is there a chance that there's some bias in his work? Because I did the homework, and Paul Roberts, he can't even read Metal Netter. You can see that on his Facebook page. Look, go to academia.u, type in Egyptian homosexuality, pull up Paul Roberts, and look at Nazi's source, then go click his Facebook page and look at him standing there in drag. So either you could take it from me, or you could take it from Paul Roberts, who's promulgating, you know what I'm saying, the exact lifestyle that he's saying the text espouses. His bias is bias. You know what I'm saying?
So let's get a little bit back to well, we have a big issue with Dr. Wesley Muhammad. These are scholars who come into our lane, in the Nile Valley lane, and they have these concepts as to where was Punt, right? What was Tanetta? And they don't speak Meta Neter, nor do they study, nor do they use primary sources. So we have asked Dr. Wesley Muhammad to respond to his claim in working out his Black Arabia. So give us some comments about Dr. Wesley Muhammad and his expertise in Nile Valley culture. And could he be making those, because he's a scholar, so he should use the same correct instruments.
Well, you know, that's Dr. Wesley Muhammad is a brother who, when it pertains to Islam, he does some of his more credible work. But when it comes to stepping outside of his field, which he was kind of like baited into because he was in debates that caused him to do some speed research about Kemet, and then he presented a lot of things that was just not truly factual. You know what I'm saying? On one document that he's as I can't say what the good brother has done, but as far as I'm concerned, he erased it offline after I wrote 2 public refudiations to his work called Kemet, Nubia, Black on Black Slavery Between Reality and Romanticism. Now, to be fair, I asked anybody to Google that title and see if they can find that document at any site endorsed by Dr. Wesley Muhammad himself. You won't be able to find it. The first 2 things that's going to pop up in Google is my 2 refudiations. And really it was because, and we talk about stepping out your lane, he wanted to forecast a lot of things like slavery and Kemet. He wanted to call throw my eye in the trash can and do a lot of things and call Amara a slave-making God. Now, it was just disingenuous, but I mean, I don't think that discredits the whole body of work he put forth. He places punt in Saudi Arabia by use of no primary attestations. I'll tell you because it's on
secondary sources. He
exactly
secondary sources from other scholars and only snippets.
And he actually made up the term ghetto scholar, which was defined as if you do not have the prowess to scrutinize the text in its original language. Ain't that what a ghetto scholar was? So then, there's a lot of us who say we can read Medu Neter because we got a Medu Neter book that's called How to Read Medu Neter, and we got to the end of the book. But that's disrespectful to the people who actually read the glyphs. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not that simple. And it took me at least 3 or 4 years before I even wanted to speak publicly on the matter. So when he gets into our field of study, he like shooting in the dark. You know what I'm saying? As far as Tanetta is concerned and punt, let's just be clear. You don't even have that many attestations for you to go to find out where it was. We'll go to, I think, about the time of Unes, it was Harkuf who got sent to punt, if I'm not mistaken, or to Yam in order to bring back a dancing dwarf and a lot of goods and whatever you have. We have, during the time of Hatshepsut, when Amen, an oracle of Amen came to Hatshepsut and told her to beseech Tanetta, you see what I'm saying? And we have in the time, I think, during Tutmosis III, when the Tutmos II, if I'm correct, when he wanted to beseech punt Tanetta. Now, the only one out of those that he could use, because everybody else went south, is written in there, because Harkuf ran into the Nubians are the Nahesi from Yam, the Nahesi from Wawat. This is all on his way to punt. So we know which way he had to go if he was going through Ta-Nahesi anyway. But at about the time of Tutmos II, wait, I don't want to say it was the second or the third, but you can find the attestation. It's just losing me right now. He beseeched punt as well, and they didn't know what a location was. A lot of the times when they look for punt or Tanetta, they don't know what the location is. But we find on Hatshepsut's punt exhibition, she gives up the ghost. Tanetta, first and foremost, that's not the land of the gods. That's the most incorrect European translation you could bring back. Now, if we want to say it says divine land, then we can talk about that too. But if we want to get deep into it, I would put forth that Tanetta was the land of resources or the land of nature. That's what nature and Tanetta represented. And I'm putting this from empirical observation of primary text. And what I tell you on Hatshepsut's punt exhibition, I think it's line 15-7, where they start, Amen comes to her. He comes to her in the beginning. But at this point, he tells her to seek out Ta'u Neteru, which places Ta-Neter in plurality. When you add the U suffix on the end of any Kemetic word, it's plural. So she wasn't looking for Ta-Neter, she was looking for Ta'u Neteru, which means look for 2 Ta-Neters inside the land of punt. One was the hills of the land of the Murph terraces, and the other was the untrodden land that Egyptians do not know. These were 2 lands inside of punt called Ta'u Neteru. So when you try to take Ta-Neter and make it the divine land and then place it someplace that it wasn't even in, you're going to run into issues. Furthermore, to say Holy Land, we do not say Ta-Neter. You say Ta-Jezeru. Jezeru means holy, okay? And we can find this out. Just go to Wiki and look up, what's her name? Hatshepsut's temple. It was called Jezeru, which means the Holy of Holies. Ta Jezeru is a location in the Duat, but there's also the as above, so below, a Holy Land location, Ta Jezeru. I put forth that it was the land that Hatshepsut's temple was built on, Jezeru, but I still got more to look into that.
Between Biblio and time, because
Well, that comes from the attestation. He's talking about the confusion between Biblos and Punt and Tanetta. This comes from Tutmosis' attestation, because he told his people to seek out Punt and Biblos. So people who trying to confuse the knowledge is acting like he was meaning that they were in close proximity to each other. No, he was saying seek out the two major trading locations to bring back these resources we need. We know this for many reasons, but one of the main barges used to go to Byblos was called a Kapin or a Kadin. They spelled it in two ways, but it was a Byblos boat, and it was manufactured from the cedar wood that they would get from Byblos. It would allow them to bring back a lot of, I don't know if it was cedar wood popped in my head. It allowed them to bring the cedar back from the Lebanon area. Byblos was a little bit lower than that, but you know what it was. It didn't have anything to do with proximity, saying that Tanetta or Punt was close to Byblos. He was simply telling his executives to seek out the two main trading posts of his time. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you something, brother. Before we came on the air live, you and Brother Tazoriak had a powerful build. Y'all was dealing with some powerful information. Would you like to share that with the audience, with the people? Go in deeper about that.
Definitely. Yeah, good piece, Tazariak, and all my other brothers out there. You know, what we were discussing was a point of contention that we have over the mother goddess, because I don't think what Brother Polite was trying to give y'all was well taken, and I don't know if he did the best job in actually bringing forth the information. But what we do find, and my document almost been up for a year now, it was directed directly to ISUPK. It's called an open letter to ISUPK. El Shaddai, the mother goddess. They can't say they ain't seen it, because I never contacted them personally. They contacted me through Twitter. All you got to do is go to Twitter, put in Smash Rockwell ISUPK, and you'll see our conversations where they was trying to get on my head for saying Polite won the debate. And they said they was looking for more debates. So I'm like, oh, okay, well, I know a little bit of something, so I got some time on my hands. I want to write you a letter. And what I wanted to do was show them that the El Shaddai that we find in the Bible is actually the mother goddess, Nana, who was venerated by Abraham and his fathers in Ur. Okay, before Joshua 24:2, read Joshua 24:2, and that's a testament to everything I'm saying. Joshua says, or Yahweh says that Abraham's father lived on the other side of the river, and they worship other gods. So now we know, okay, Yahweh wasn't in the picture, but when we get into the archaeological evidence, what we go look at, we find the ziggurat of Ur, which was a worship temple in the time of Abraham and his two fathers. Okay, you can look at the when they trace that back to. Now inside the ziggurat, we find Sin Nana, who is the moon goddess, who has been amalgamated from the mother goddess Nana and attached to a moon god named Sin to bring forth Sin Nana. It's all Amorite area, and when he meets El Shaddai, I think this is Genesis 17:1, he 99 years old. So it means whoever he was venerating before that, he did it for 99 years. El Shaddai comes to him in Amorite land, and I'm going to explain to y'all why, and tells him, follow me, I am El Shaddai, you know what I'm saying? Follow me and do all of this. Now, people don't understand why that was. It is because the goddess Nana was venerated also. See, when we start to go into the triconsonantal roots and we look at the term, they trace the term Shaddai. They try to give you a whole bunch of different meanings. They say the destroyer, but it's not true. William F. Albright did the work on that back in the day, and he concluded that the root to Shaddai comes from Ugaritic, which was Todd. Okay, and so you can't stop at Shaddai, or you cannot stop at or shod even for breast to find the true etymon to this term. We know that the Hebrew was built off of a whole bunch of other languages that was around anyway. He took it back to Todd, okay? Now, when some people will try to tell you, okay, yeah, well, it's the god of the mountain because of Shadu in Akkadian means mountain. But Shadu comes from the Ugaritic Todd, which actually meant breast. You see what I'm saying? And the mountain, just like we talk about how ancient people seen certain things, eventually a mountain got equated with a breast. It's so much about El Shaddai being the mother goddess that we should look into. People didn't even know Shaddai was a city, okay? It was a city close to Shechem and Amaru. And when we get there, what we find out that the Arabs who excavated this city Shaddai named it the ruined site of the two breasts. So when we're dealing with Shaddai and all of the true archaeology, the extra biblical or the non-canonical attestations, we can see clearly it has something to do with femininity. But I wanted to show them who this goddess was because we find her all the way back from 33,000 BC venerated as Nana. But they call her what? The Venus figurine. Let's throw that out because ain't no Venus before Romans, correct? So an icon from 33,000 BC could not be the Venus figurine. But let me show y'all something how you know that this is Nana, because she's holding her heavy breast. See, there is a 740 BC Sumerio-Akkadian hymn to Nana that says, I have a beard in Babylon, I have heavy breast in Doduni. And Doduni was Dodona, which is really Dodona, Greece. So they telling you at 740 BC, she was stretching from Dodona all the way to Babylon. And she says, and I am still Nana. That is a quote, what it says at 740 BC. Now we could trace her back, so we follow these heavy breasts. On my document on rapgod.wordpress.com, you can see any of this, and you can see that I've, over 30,000 years, every figurine of her, she's holding heavy breasts, just like this. You know what I'm saying? Upholding her breasts until about the time when the let's say the patriarchy tried to usurp the matriarchy, and then we start seeing her venerated in different ways. Well, she's amalgamated into Sin Nana and when they were trying to also make the patriarchy usurp the matriarchy. It's because the priest wanted to oust the priestess, and they didn't want the oracle, who was the highest of knowledge, to be a woman anymore. This is how it went down. So they took the goddess Nana, took her to Sin Nana. She survived as Bel Shad and Amaru, who came to Abraham as El Shaddai. You see what I'm saying?
All right, brother, that's peace. Let me see who's asking this question. Oh, it went up already. Well, anyway, brother, let me ask you this. How can we use Kemetic lessons in the modern day to uplift our people and get the cracker foot off of our head? How can we use the Kemetic lessons today in the modern world to get this cracker foot up off of our necks?
I'll tell you one thing. See, like I said, I like that question. I'm into truthology. I wound up in Kemet because that's where I find the majority of it. But let me break this down. If I was raised as a Christian, and I was raised that there was a theory of repentance, meaning that I could really go do what I want to do all week and then come back on Sunday and repent, or repent before I die, and it's going to be cool. Now, I don't live today, if you want to see how we apply Kemetic principles, I don't live my life like that. I don't think that I can repent for some evil I've done and be let off the hook later. You see what I'm saying? That ain't my thing. I follow, first of all, my eye, which is the truth. Let's just be simple. I don't have to go into we know it's divine order, reciprocity, and all of these things. But to simplify for you, my eye is the truth. And it actually comes from the root word my eye, which means to see. So it lets me know the things that we observe was considered truth to us. This is one way that I took it into my life. But secondly, okay, an adherence to truth was your admittance to the afterlife, as far as the principles I follow now and the principles we followed in ancient Kemet. And adherence to the truth was your acceptance into the afterlife. And we know about the scales of my eye is because the good you've done on earth will be weighed against the bad you've done on earth. Okay, and if the bad you've done outweighs the good, you're not being accepted into the afterlife. Now, let me just keep it clear for all of our ex-convict brothers, all of our brothers who got anything on their moral conscience that's making them think they committed. Don't you think the scales of my eye would be better for that man to lead a life through our society than repentance? Because he would be thinking, oh, I just repented for that anyway, so now I'm cool. No, you got to go back in the community and do that work to right your wrongs, period. And that's what I get now. If you want to talk about getting the crack up off our neck, we've been dealing with that. We said back in the day in Kemet, we ain't never supposed to let no Asian addicts come into our land and do nothing. I don't want to define which people they talking about, confused whether retinue, Asiatics, or whoever. It was clear that we needed to show our own solidarity in defending what was ours, whether that's in East Oakland, whether it's in Harlem, whether it's in Kemet.
Years of doing this.
Exactly.
We had more 4,000 years of invasions.
Yeah.
Right? And so the problem with, if you look at Israel and you look at Judah, they had two major invasions that wiped them out. Mm-hmm. We had at least 4,000 years of fighting the European, right? Mm-hmm. Yes, we lost, but look how we lost. We lost the Persians. We had internal strife. We had the Greeks, right? So
we didn't lose like they want to act like we were standing back in Kemet and some white boys came through and we lost. That's erroneous. First of all, at the time when the Greeks got to Kemet, some say they were seen as liberators because the Persians and the Libyans who were before them, see, we was fighting with everybody. And when you become ununified, see, we fell out with the Madjai. We fell out with Nubia. All right, and now we isolated up in Kemet. We can't call our soldiers, the Madjai, up from Nubia to defend us no more. This is what happened. Okay, when Asar-Haddon or whoever it was either Asar-Haddon or Sennacherib. They both, Sennacherib, I call him Sennacherib. They both are Assyrian kings who encroached upon Taharka and his brothers. Now, we was still employing the Madjai, bringing I don't want to go too far off on a tangent, but I just want to let y'all know. We were still bringing the Madjai up from Nubia in order to defend Kemet. But when we was fighting these Assyrians, it wasn't really our beef. It was Hebrew beef. Okay? We was out there on the front line trying to save Jerusalem for y'all because y'all were some of our vassal kings. Meaning, when we left the area, we was like, okay, y'all, you hold it down, you hold it down, and you hold it down. If you look in the Bible, Assyrians encroached upon Jerusalem and they were standing outside the wall of Jerusalem, and when they woke up in the morning, 186,000 men was dead. Dang. They don't want to tell you that was Taharka. Okay, but they will tell you in the Bible in an earlier verse what happened was Sennacherib, y'all look it up. The Assyrian is standing outside of Jerusalem and he's taunting Hezekiah. And he's like, exactly. He's taunting Hezekiah and he's like, yo, who do you think gonna save you? We out here deep. We gonna starve y'all out. Y'all can't get to y'all water. It's going down. He got word that Taharka, the Nisut of Egypt, the Nisut of Kemet was coming. But it really says Taharka, the Pharaoh of Egypt, is coming in the Bible. Now, they don't say it was Taharka who killed all the Assyrians. They say overnight the angel of the Lord came through and wiped out 86,000 of Sennacherib's men. That's not what happened, because you can go read the Taharka's attestations, his Kawa stellas, and you can also read Esar-Haddon or Sennacherib's prism. Sennacherib's prism. That's what you need to go read for that story.
I want to continue on, but I have a special guest. And he's another member from the Arm and Raw Squad that's calling in. Arm and Raw Squad up, brother Unk. What's the question, brother?
Man, well, first I want to say I'm a Raw Squad up, man, and the Madjai, yo. Vanguard the Kimetic, yo.
Black African Power, what's up?
Black African Power, man. I see we got some real information in the house today, yo. Yeah, that Assyrian king name was Sennacherib.
Yeah, Sennacherib.
That's his name.
Yeah, Sennacherib.
That's right.
Yeah, you
and they try to good book for that is it's called Siege of Jerusalem. Read that for all my Hebrew brothers. Go get that. Yeah. Now, this is the question I would like to ask, man. Can you please dispel the myth, since you brought that work out, right, of the monotheism practice in the Bible? because they think we pagans because we got many forces in nature, right? But they don't have monotheism. So I'm gonna get off, right, and let you build on that. That's my question.
Thank you, brother. All
right, Black African Power.
Black African power.
Get the mic.
Oh yeah. Well, a lot of scholars have done work to show that the Bible is not genuinely monotheistic. It is. I mean, let's just throw monotheism out the window. I hate that I gotta beat your head like that, but I'm gonna put it on you with common sense. Monotheism means one God exists, period. Nothing else. Only one God. Now, okay, you could say you prescribe to that notion. Yeah, only one God exists. Okay, so if I asked a brother of the Muslim persuasion who was God, he's going to say Allah, correct? If I ask another brother of the Hebrew persuasion who is God, he's going to say Yahweh. Now, in order to evade the truth that monotheism don't exist, if you ask them, are these the same God? A lot of people might try to say, yeah. Is Yahweh Allah? Yes or no? Or they call him Yahweh, but we could talk about that later too. Is Yahweh Allah? You have it. More. My question is Yahweh Allah? If someone wants to evade my question by saying, yes, he is, well, then we got to go through the pantheon of gods that people venerate on earth. Is Yahweh Buddha? Is Yahweh Vishnu?
Is Elohim Yahweh?
Exactly.
And so, is there two separate people?
So monotheism strictly means one God exists. Now, what the Bible is monolatristic. It is a monolatry, meaning that, yes, we are only going to worship one God. The text started out polytheistic, really, and then it became henotheistic, then it became monolatristic, but it's confused for being monotheistic. And I can walk y'all through all of those.
But isn't it multiple sciences? Why do we always play the God thing? Right? Mm-hmm. Why isn't it not just different sciences? There's different cosmologies.
Exactly.
These are solutions to problems.
No, he's right.
Necessarily believes in a God.
He's right. But as they arrived during the time of some of the Israelite religions, we actually see they did. I mean, like veneration to Moloch was contained by religious principles as well. You didn't just go burn your son on the wall one day. You also had a canon you had to follow. And so that was evidence that at time Israel was definitely not monotheistic.
What about Baal?
All about Baal. We find Baal, which is really if we go into the Canaanite, let's just keep it real. Yahweh was really one of the younger sons of El, one of the brothers of the Elohim. When they call him Yahweh Elohim, they are identifying which Elohim he is exactly. They're all of the sons of the Canaanite god El, and the Bible is really about finding a people for the younger brother to worship. Period. That's what it's about.
Hebrew, not in King James.
In Hebrew, and we got to look at some of the extra biblical, and I keep saying non-canonical attestations, and then we'll get some clarity, because if you want to look at, I mean, you can look into the Bible too and get some clarity. Just deal with Melchizedek, but they talk about El Elyon, when we could go look at the sapphire stela, which is extra biblical, and we can find out that El and Elyon are two different deities, okay? They're not just one deity, and so we can find that all of these guys were different gods. You know what I mean?
Okay, my brother. Oh, that's peace. Beautiful. This is powerful. Like I said, again, I hope y'all appreciate this brother right here. It's very hard to get some strong brothers up in here that know this science, man. Besides my brother Reggie, we got another brother that know how to write and read Metdunetta. All right? So here's the question I have for you, my brother. Can you prove that we are Kemetic through some of the prophecies or real sources, or some of your real sources? Can you prove that we are the people of Kemetic science?
Yeah, see, under Amara Squad, we deal with empirical observation. So really, I shoot y'all to that brother boy Ngozi, and he can point y'all all to the DNA. But I did work in a refutation of General Yohana, where he put up this video talking about you can't trace your roots back to Kemet. Well, they got what they call the Egyptian gene. So if you want to look up the Egyptian gene, look it up, and you'll find that 1 out of 10 African Americans have the Egyptian genes, but that's not high, right? We want to go further into that and look look at the Nisu Ramses III, his DNA, because he was completely sub-Saharan. He was E1B1A. See, they don't want to deal with DNA. They say, oh, the white man DNA fake, or you know what I'm saying? Why? There's not one realm of this scholarship we can't deal with when it comes to Kemet. I'm not going to discredit no study on the basis that, the white man this. That's when you know you're dealing with somebody who got a political motive, you know what I'm saying? And the fact of the matter is, when they tested Ramses III's DNA, it was E1B1A. 55% of African Americans have E1B1A. Now, I ain't into spookism. I don't need no prophecy. I'll give you a prophecy if that's what you're looking for. But we have those prophecies. Of course, Egypt was wildly prophetic. But let me ask you a question. Why does someone who shuns on divination looking for a prophecy? You see what I'm saying? Why is some divination is simply looking to any source for future events or whatever? I guess the brother Answap or from GOCC didn't know that. If you're looking for any sort of knowledge of the future from any arcane source, you know what I'm saying, that's divination, you know what I'm saying? And so why would someone who supposedly shuns divination require prophecy? They don't even know what they're talking about. Like, you know what I'm saying? Prophecy is something you're supposed to get from God. Ain't that divination? Like, you know what I'm saying? So really, they ain't even ready to deal with it on this level, really. You know what I'm saying?
Let me ask you this, brother. Was there ever Hebrews enslaved in Egypt? Was the Hebrews really enslaved in ancient Kemet? Lay that to rest right quick, brother.
No, there were no Hebrews enslaved in Kemet. Now, we deal with primaries. Let me tell y'all something. If you really want to deal with it, one of the first attestations you're going to find of a slave in Kemet was actually owned by a Jew named Meshulam. What? And that's from the 27th dynasty. Let me repeat that again. One of the only primary attestations that we'll find concerning slavery in Kemet was a slave owned by a Jew named Meshulam from the 27th dynasty. You see what I'm saying? So, and I'm saying slave to use your language, but yes, this is how I can substantiate that that was really a slave, because when it comes to dealing with slavery, slave gods, and literature, you have what is called manumission. This is the point when you got to let the slave go because it's immoral at this point. Slave gods always issue out rules of manumission. That's why when you look through the Quran, you can find out what's up with manumission. When you look into Christianity, you can find up what's up with manumission. There's no slave rights. As a matter of fact, you look at my document called Kemet Nubia, Black on Black Slavery, an assessment of the sources of Dr. Muhammad, and you'll see plenty of quotes that said, there's actually a catalog called Populoso, it's really a Greek word, and I'm not good at Greek, but you can find it in my document. Something about the population during the time of Ptolemy is what they're saying, basically. And they take all of Kemetic documents from the time of when the Ptolemies and the Greeks got there, 332 BC up until like the Roman period, 30 BC, and they looked through all legal documents and they found only three. They found only three documents that they could equate to say it was slavery.
One of the things that they always try to talk about is they try to talk about the Nubian captivity or the wars.
Yeah, definitely.
Kemet.
Oh,
they tried to say, well, you see that they're bonded and they're tied.
Oh yeah, that happens. That happens in war. No, that happens in war. But let's just keep it. Let's be more practical. We just went like, let's say, few thousand miles to go have a war or what have you, unless they whatever areas they were coming from. Now, either you go, first of all, we never ever, it wasn't the theory of the Kemetic officialdom to kill out or squash out anybody. We only wanted to reduce them into being a part of our vassalage, reduce them into vassal kingdoms. So you wasn't never coming through anything trying to kill the whole culture entirely. And the people who were brought back captives, see, we deal with the metal netter. They had a term that they entered the society as, and it's called a marut. Okay, now a lot of people, you were not even a Bach, which is another term that they misappropriate for slave. It is a marut. Now, if we look at the triconsonantal root, and I'm going to just put forward, it is the basis to our term for merit, MRT, to make a meritorious rise through society by being amalgamated to a new culture was called marut, okay? And so the people, the captives who were brought into Kemet or whatever were maruts, but we got to deal with it like men and not like boys. Your options. You got beef with us, you die, or you come live the way we want you to live. That's what it is. But you're not going to be living your life in bondage. You're not going to be owned, chattel slavery. As a matter of fact, that won't happen. What they do try to equate what they want to call servitude, in Kemet they try to equate it to a system, a French feudal system called corvée, which was really just paying your taxes with labor. Period. And so look into the term marut, look into the term Bach, look into the term him and Hemet, and if you look at primary attestations, you can say, oh, this don't mean slave.
Let's deal with this father seat.
Hold up.
Yeah.
I got another member from the Honor Rock Squad up is in the building. Peace, my brother. What's happening? State your name, brother.
Brother Nahisi, Jonathan, what's going on?
Oh, what up with it?
What's going on? I'm just getting you support, brother. You dropping them. Checkmate them, brother.
Oh, you know how we do, man. The Madjai roll through, it ain't gonna be too much to be said after that. That's real.
All right, then, brothers. I was just calling in to give my brother support.
Oh, okay. Respect.
I'm a rock squad up. Black African Power.
I'm a rock squad up. Black African Power.
All right, hold on. We got callers calling in. Peace. State your name. Where you calling from? Missouri. What's up, man?
What's going on? What's up? This G Consciousness, LeRon Campbell.
Hey, what's happening? Talk to us.
LeRon, what's up?
What's up, man? What's up, Jonathan, man? I hear you trying to kick some of that knowledge right there.
Man, you know you can't deal with me, LeRon. You know what I'm saying? What's up?
You got a question, brother LeBron?
Yeah, man. I hear the brother talking as far as when he talk about Taharka and some of the biblical evidence that he's talking about and some of the outside evidence. But this is the question that I got for you. Are you saying that there was no slaves down in Egypt and Avaris?
Definitely not. As a matter of fact, Avaris wasn't even nothing to us. There was no capital of Avaris before the Hyksos came and found the little sandy mold in the desert and turned it into something. Find Avaris in the text before Hyksos tried to make it be something.
Let me ask you a question. What was the name of it then?
I just told you. I told you it wasn't. We wasn't dealing with them areas. That's all in the marshes. Go look at Avaris.
What's your date for the Hyksos?
I say the Hykes. He asked me what was my date for the Hyksos, and I say they start coming in about what's that? I don't know if that's the first intermediate or the second. About the 11, 12 dynasty, they start coming in peacefully. You know what I'm saying? They wasn't trying to come in with no beef, but they took to set up their little pseudo kingdoms over in Avaris, which was really like a little dirt cut that wasn't nobody even dealing with. And I say they start doing that about the 14th, 15th dynasty.
Okay, well, let me ask you a question. Okay, we have at around the 12th dynasty, I want to say it's Amenemhat the third, right? We have a famine during that time, right?
Oh, hold on. Well, just real quick, is having a famine all you got? Because there's a famine in Ethiopia. I mean, there's a famine in Africa. It's always been famines. You see what I'm saying?
Primary document, or just the Bible? What primary document?
There was always famines, but during this time they had what you had two forts that had markings on the side of the two forts to mark the rivers. The river when the Nile went above a certain land. Well, during this time of Amenemhat the third, this Nile rose up above, which caused a famine because the Nile River could cause a famine just as well, right? So they built what you call a waterway on the Bar Yasaf, on the five Bayim, which is called the waterway of Joseph. What do you think about that?
Man, it's not called no waterway of Joseph. Let me ask you a question. Are you using David Rawls' work?
No, it's called the Bar Yasaf. You can look it up. For anybody that want to look it up, look up the Bar Yasaf.
Okay.
This day in Arabic, that means the waterway.
Okay. I'm asking you.
That is called the five Bayim. And what that is it is a canal that was built
So what's your point? What's your point? I'm trying to see what's your point.
The same first time we got off. It's been hella.
No, you're wrong. You're incorrect. You're incorrect. We did not use Josephus.
Caller, thanks a lot for calling in, my
But
man.
LaRon, hit me up later. You're wrong. Peace.
All right with the calls right now? For sure. All right, I'll do it. I need water. I got you. Peace, my brother. What's up? Where you calling from? Or sister? I don't know. What's happening?
Hey, I'm Sam calling from Washington, D.C.
All right, what's up, man? You got a question?
Yeah, I just had a question about the meta-netter. Just had a question for those guys.
Go ahead, brother. Ask your question.
Okay. My question is, when it comes to the meta-netter, what are folks who are saying that the meta-netter has been deciphered? What are they using to say that it has been deciphered? What are they using?
Well, we have to walk ourselves. If we really want to know this, we should take some time to walk ourselves through the process of decipherment of what they did with the Rosetta Stone. I wrote a document called Examining the Fallacy of, it's about Walter Williams. It's called Examining the Fallacy that Medu-Neter had not been deciphered. And basically, I detailed the process. And what me and the last caller, LaRon, was talking about is, they have 3 languages on one slab, a basalt slab called the Rashidi stone, but we call it the Rosetta Stone or whatever. They don't only have one of these, first of all. On this inscription is left to us, it's a trilingual inscription, okay, which became sort of a custom of the time to leave trilingual inscriptions so you can read the text in more than one language. Now, one of those languages is Greek, and we have it worked out that Greek is, we know Greek is not a dead language, and so we know one of the languages on the Rosetta Stone. Therefore, they figured out that they can take what was written in the Greek and appropriate it to the 2 other scripts because it said the same thing in different languages. But they really used the personal names to do this because they knew that the phonemes of the personal names did not change no matter what language you were saying it in. For instance, they was trying to still say Ptolemy like Ptolemy even though it was written in Medu-Neter. So what they did was you can see there that if this says Ptolemy inside of this cartouche, then I'll find, it's called a chenu. Cartouche really means a cartridge in French. They thought it was a bullet, looked like a bullet, but that's a whole other thing. It's a chenu, and if I find that name in Greek inside of the chenu and then find it in Demotic inside of the chenu, then I can know that this is the same word.
Darius too, Cleopatra too, Xerxes too,
Barnese.
Yeah. So there are a number of these things.
Exactly, and so it was Thomas Young who actually did that before Champollion, and certain things you just can't deny. Like if you look through the work the way we look through the work, you say either they got it right or they got it wrong. With certain things they brought out information. Champollion came behind him because those are only 14 phonemes that he worked out. Thomas Young. Champollion came behind him and worked out what they call quote unquote the alphabet or what have you. But it's not really an alphabet because it was before an alphabet. But that's kind of, so when we want to go look into the text, we don't just look at Egyptological dictionaries. That'll keep you trapped in their paradigm. What we do is we learn how to match cognate terms in other African languages. Coptic. Exactly. Coptic is one that that's an African language that I promote as a good source. Actually, it has the same exact name as Medu-Neter. See, Medu-Neter are the sacred writings on the wall that they call the hieroglyphs, but the common language wasn't as profound and holy. It was called Ur-Enkim or Ur-Enkim or Ren-Enkim. But the Coptic language today is actually called Rim-Enkimi. To say the language of Coptic, you say Tiaspi Ren-Enkimi. That is the Coptic language. It breaks down to the mouth of blacks. The Ur-glyph, which is Gardner D21, is a mouth, is Ur. M is a preposition of, and Kim means black, or it means Egypt. The way Kemet, the way they did it, they say Ur-Enkimi. So we can look in the Coptic and tell you how to say a few Medu-Neter terms, you know what I'm saying? They got the most cognates out of any African language we find. And so we got surviving testaments to Medu-Neter, you know what I mean?
So let me break it up.
Well, hold on. All them Jews y'all talking about, let's keep it 100. You ain't taking no Ethiopian Jews back in the antiquity. You talking about people who claim Jew after the story came out. Now, yeah, there was a relationship, you know what I'm saying, and between Egyptians. Are you going to go ahead, continue with what you got to add to it? I think your phone breaking up, though, bro. But what I'm saying is, yes, a lot of people claim Judaism after it came out, period. Like, but we talking about people contemporaneous with the stories that we telling. If Abraham supposedly lived at 2190 BC, then we need to see somebody around that time. Or you see what I'm saying? Not nobody after the story came out who claimed Jews. All of the people who claim Hebrew in West Africa did it after the story came out too. All right, you want to challenge that? Let's go in, because we gonna we could get down to the root of who when they start talking about, it was actually a brother from Yemen who brought that Judaism to West Africa. You know what I'm saying? And this is after the Himyar dynasty had collapsed. He had to break up out of there. I think his name was, I gotta remember his name, but he set up the Zah dynasty. But y'all know what's up with that. And so after the story came out, a lot of people start claiming Hebrew. You know what I'm saying? Let's just keep it 100. But in antiquity, I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I don't know.
But now, let me ask you, what do you think about the Moors?
Oh,
what do you think about the Moors history? Because they noticed that you do research.
Yeah, I do. Well, I helped them I beat them up out of Kemet when they was trying to say that the Moors was, you know what I'm saying, the overseers of knowledge in Kemet. I wrote a few documents. One is called, you can find it on Rap God WordPress. One was written in 2012 called No More Kemet, No More. And basically it's just our misunderstanding of the term Mary, and they see that MR glyph that I mentioned earlier. See, one thing I pointed out was the Moors pop up as a prominent black civilization, but not, I can find them in ancient attestations, but not as a collective of people as the way we want to put it out. When they come out with that term Mare or whatever, then we'll find them in the kingdoms of Numidia or Phazanian kingdom, Phazan, you know what I'm saying?
But they're not always the same people. The problem is they're not always the same people, so they're claiming different type of lineages, right, for something modern that they're really standing on. Exactly. They're not the same ancient people.
All right, I got another call real quick. Peace to my brother Polite. I got brother Reggie in the building and brother Jonathan. What's up, my brother? Talk to me.
Peace, Polite.
Hey, what's up, team?
Black After Power, what's up with you?
Black Power, what's good, man?
All right.
It's good to hear you in the building, man. I never knew you was coming through.
Hey, man, I start coming through every now and then.
Brother Polite, let me ask you a question, brother.
Here we go.
According to the Hebrews' doctrine, according to the Hebrew way of life, according to the Hebrew religion, how old do you suppose they think the world is and man is?
Oh, I don't suppose. The lineup that I got coming up against GOCC, I'm supposed to send you a forward, brother Reggie, when I get the time. I'm going to forward you some of the debate details, you know, and we can finally do something together. Even brother Jonathan, because, you know, he's a beast as well. But one of the things I'm supposed to debate these guys on is the fact that they say that the planet Earth is no older than 12,000 years old, and human beings are no older than 6,000 years old. And I asked him 3 times. I said, brother, are you sure that this is what you want to debate about? Now, these are one of the things. This is not the only thing. But that really hurt me to hear a grown man say that to me on the phone. And he said, all that Dr. Lucy talking, all that is a lie. He's going to prove that it's a lie because the Bible clearly states, according to one day the God like to put 1,000 like to a day and all sort of stuff. He said man can only be 6,000 years old, and the earth can only be 12,000 years old. And if we get our information from anywhere else other than the Bible, that's the first folly in our ways, because they're manipulating all the information. And that's why nothing could be older than 12,000 years on the planet. No pyramids, no nothing could be older than 12,000 years old on the planet, because the planet doesn't go past 12,000 years old, and people don't go past 6. So this is the type of shit we dealing with today.
Yeah, that's
Where do they actually use a date? what date do they actually use?
Yeah,
How did they begin to calculate?
You got to take all the yeah. They add up all the Bible names.
The resource that they use is called the Bible. Yeah. Every answer to every question is the Bible. When all else fails, they say the Bible.
You know, it comes a lot of it.
How does that make sense at the end of the day? And they're going to have to refute all sorts of evidence. They're not playing around with these guys. I'm going to say that I'm going to exhaust the point. Every point I argue, I'm going to exhaust every single point to make them submit. So I'm going to give them 6, 7 different ways to find out how the planet is older than 12,000 years. I'm going to do more than carbon dating. I'm going to do more than DNA evidence. I'm going to make them have to submit. I'm going to exhaust every answer I give them. Because truly, I just want to wake these people up. Because these people are having children. They're making children. And these guys are 30 years old, 40 years old, 50 years old. We cannot have our people at that age believing in shit like this. So when people say, how come y'all always bothering the Israelites? How come you bashing them? Because we are concerned for our people. We can't have grown men who are expected to raise their children, to liberate our people that profess to be part of this freedom fight. We cannot have men older than 20 years old believing things like planet Earth is only 12,000 years old, believing that us as a black people can go no further back than 6,000 years old. Now, maybe the white man goes back no further than 6,000 years old. Okay? Maybe he can go back 6,000 years old. But don't put our people in that same category, man. Don't do that.
Let me ask you, Brother Polite. Brother Polite, oh, man, I got to let my man plug in.
Yeah,
Talk
yeah.
to the family. You already know what it is. All right, my brother. Is there anything else you would like to talk about while we're here? Because we want to try to cover a lot of things while you're here.
Well, you know what? I've been seeing y'all trying to put together the Conscious Battle Rap League, and when I first leaned in, my cheek went up, like, what they trying to do? But I checked myself, because you know why? We letting them come in and get this big money and take it up out. They exploiting our culture one more time. It's going to happen again and again and again until we say, no, we're going to stop it, and we'll use one of our auxiliaries, you know what I'm saying, to put it out. So it might be a lot of young MCs out there who are looking forward to some light, and get on, mess with that House of Conscious Battle Rap League. Y'all know the Amon-Ra Squad. If y'all ain't knowing the Amon-Ra Squad, you go to Blog Talk Radio and see where we teaching every Sunday, you know what I'm saying? If you could join the Madjai, the Vanguards of Kemet on Facebook, the Amon-Ra Squad Scholarship on Facebook. And, you know, just like Brother Polite said, and even some of the brothers who are from different persuasions who really ain't tripping off what they believe more than doing something for our people, we all could build to come together and do what we got to do, you know what I'm saying?
All right, I want to say peace and black power. Shalom to my brother, Divine Prospect. What's up, my brother?
Peace, peace.
What's up? What's up?
Do you have any
Peace
questions
and
for
black
the
power.
brother Divine? Peace, Divine.
Peace, peace.
Yeah, peace. The first thing I want to say is shout out to Brother Reggie, Brother Jonathan, and I heard Polite calling earlier as well, so shout out to him as well. Brother Jonathan was bringing some good information for the people there, and you know, stuff like that I like to hear because it helps to sharpen me, so that way I can stay astute in regards to my studies as well. So he's added some information, so that way I can accumulate it, and that way, you know, I can have a better grasp on how I present information in regards to ancient Kemet. I just have 2 questions I just want to throw your way. This could be for either a Brother Reggie or Brother Jonathan, right? Just 2 quick questions. The first question I have is, are you guys familiar with Naphtalier?
Yes.
Very much so.
Okay, the civilization of Naphtalier, you know, was from about 10,000 to 8,000 BCE. And you had a populace of people that were there because during that time, it wasn't an arid region. So you had some grasslands there, you had some fossils that they had found in regards to animals, etc. A question is, when you had the Africans from Upper Egypt migrating to Lower Egypt, there was already a populace there. The populace that existed there, my first question is, was it a group of Africans or Asiatics?
Okay. Well, we got to straighten out the question a bit because we went back to 10,000 BC and talked about, yeah, you're not,
The progression from,
yeah,
from Naphtalier all the way
yeah,
until we get to, let's say, about 4,000.
yeah. Well, you got to think about it. When you said migrations from Egypt into the areas of Nabta Playa or Ta-Nehesi, what time period are you talking about for those migrations? You see what I mean?
Well, yeah, I'm talking about the transition. So for the transition from the populace that was in Nabta Playa over a period of time when the region started to get more arid, they left that area and migrated more and stayed more towards the Nile.
Yeah.
So we're talking about time periods towards migration. Look at the archaeological record. I would say from that populace migrating to, let's say, upper Kemet.
Okay.
Like around 4,000. So we're talking about a couple thousand years.
Yeah.
From the time we had the civilization and after prior to where they started to move there and really locate towards the Nile.
Yeah, okay, I got you.
When you had the establishment of Upper Egypt and they were moving towards, let's say, northern Egypt, there was a populace already there. So the populace that was there, my question is, were they Asiatics or were they Africans? This is just to help me get
from primary attestations, we're going to say they were called the Tamehu. The people who lived west of Ta-Nehesi, see, Nabta Playa is about 100 kilometers west of Ta-Nehesi are the areas of Nubia. The people who lived in ancient times were called Tamehu. So they did not see those peoples as traditional Africans. And we can look at primary. You can go to temehu.com or Temehu. Hello? Oh, he can still hear us through the song. Yeah, you could go to temehu.com and see attestations of that. But from primaries, we see that the people who at that time period who lived to the west of Ta-Nehesi were called Tamehu. So I would say they did not see those as Africans. Well, I don't want to say they weren't looking at nothing like Africans. They all just looked at everybody like different tribes. You know what I'm saying? But if we look at the pictorial depictions of Tamehu, phenotypically they look closer to a mixed person, like Libyan with straight hair, or they don't look traditionally Ta-Nehesi. You know what I mean? I wish he was still here so we. Oh, okay, cool. So yeah, at that time I would say they would be the Tamehu, and it matches right up to what you're saying, because about the time of the unification of Kemet, we start calling the area which is lower, we'll say lower Kemet, we start calling that Ta-Mehu. Now a Mehu is a whip. So the land, so now it's the, yeah, there we go. After, but Divine Prospect, after, yeah, we're gonna let one of the scribe members touch on this too. After unification, they say Tamehu was the area they called Tenehu or Tamehu, or it became synonymous with each other. What's up, Black African Power?
Black African Power. And Goldie, where you at, Goldie? Peace. I'm in Rock Squad up. Yeah. Peace to the family.
We got Brother Divine Prospect on the line too, y'all. I'm a Rock Squad.
Peace, God. Peace.
What's up, brother Goldie? What's happening?
Peace with you, brother Sarnetta. How you doing, big brother?
Good, man. I can't wait to get you in the house, brother.
Oh, yes, sir. Soon, God. You're soon, real soon, man. Yeah. I was listening. I called Sarnetta. I called Unc, and I heard the question that the brother Divine asked, and he asked who was in North Africa or Northern Kemet around 10,000 BC. Now, we know around 10,000 years ago is when the Holocene glacier period kicked in, when vegetation came back into Egypt. And he is correct. The people that was in Lower Egypt did go south and meet up with the indigenous population. Now, the people that came into Kemet as early as the people that you speak of that came from the Mediterranean, because that's what he's leading to, these people were not Hebrew. They were not Hebrew. They didn't exist yet. So you do have a migration of people coming in from West Asia or the Levant around 7,000 to 8,000 years ago. Now, when they came in around 7,600. We clearly see that when you look at the DNA markers of the Aludimi people that live in the northern Cameroon part with the R1BBAA marker, and you also see it with a few Berbers or Amazigh people in the Sawa Osis. That's the west of the Egypt desert. Those people were not Hebrews. They were Eurasians, but they were not Hebrews. And they were lighter olive-skinned people. They came in and they tried to attack the dark indigenous people that created the original inhabitants of Egypt that set up in the Papyrus. The Kemetic government structure comes out of the Sahara, You can see that with the Sicily cave art in the Sahara, and you can also see it in Upper Egypt towards Sudan, Khartoum, or Khmer, which is one of the earliest civilizations that they had. And you can study the DNA. So those people that y'all calling Hebrews were not y'all.
But hold on.
African.
I never said the word Hebrew. That didn't come out of my mouth.
I know, I'm just saying that's what people believe. Because a lot of people ask that question to try to make way for the Asiatic presence.
No. I understand. Again, when I did my presentation, I was adding dates in regards to correct Hebrew ideology if they were to add dates to the different myths or even legends that they believed in. And none of that predates I would say 3000 BCE. So I'm very honest in regards to my scholarship. I was just asking a question from the brother Jonathan because I see he has knowledge. I just wanted to get some clarification to assist me with additional studies that I was doing. So I appreciate you giving that to me as well, Ngozi. The second and last point that I'm going to make, and I'm going to jump off the line and get back to work, is when people say that there are dates, like, in regards to the quote-unquote Bible. If you look at the ancient manuscripts, the language that the people spoke, they spoke about empirical data, stuff that they can observe. They dealt with actions, which are either perfect or imperfect. You have tenses. For example, you have the Kemet and the Hay, you have the Tav and the Kemet. These things indicated completed actions. Then you had things such as incomplete actions. When they established their lunar system, if you look even at their Enochian calendar that has 364 days, and every 7 years they complete the actual solar cycle, these people were using a metric system to determine festivities, harvest time, etc. We have archaeological data for that. When you look at the ancient texts, they did not think abstractly like the Europeans thought. Europeans are very theoretical, very hypothetical. These people dealt with empirical data. If you look at any indigenous people, for example, the Arawas that's there in South America, those people don't care nothing about the European system of time, of dating. You're dealing with a different breed of people before you were Europeans. Came in and conquered and imposed upon them their time system. These people did not deal with that type of system. So when you look at the manuscript evidence that the Hebrews produced, if you read it from a Hebrew or Hebraic mindset, even an indigenous mindset, from either... Hold on, let me finish. I'm almost done. Let me finish. I'm just putting information out there so that people can know. When you look at it from any indigenous people, they dealt with empirical data, most part. If you look at the griots in Africa, when they gave a lot of their traditional stories, they don't tie it with dates. So we're talking about European metric system that deals with a specific length or interval of time when they came in and started taking things and started laying claim to things. So when you look at ancient texts, you got to look at it from the language of the people, and you see that they had a different concept of time. And my brother Jonathan, if he studies the Hebrew, he'll understand that you have imperfect and perfect tenses. These people dealt with empirical data, not theoretical stuff that was placed upon them or the system that they use that Europeans use. That's all I want to put out there with just information.
What people is what? Because everybody in Europe is not the same. But I can tell you for a fact that the people that you refer to, the people are calling Hebrew, they wasn't black or white. They look just like those people that you see in the Middle East today. The closest thing to original Hebrew or Jew is the Jews of Yemen, and they're still there. You can go look at a few of them. Not the ones who created the artificial Jerusalem of Israel in 1948 or 1940. That's fake. So what I'm saying is I agree with you. You can't look at things from a theoretical perspective the way Euros do. Most people in ancient times had their own way. The people in Kemet was able to deal with systems because they stayed in there now for almost 24,000 years, going from upper and lower. So they bear witness to a lot of cycles.
Well, you know what? When we start dealing with the primaries, we'll see a lot of what the brother said just ain't true. Man, we started off a lot of our attestations with the date. It started with the date. So I could tell you the exact day Murray Patah ran up on that Murray Patah cellar. I could tell you the exact day he was in Canaan. All right, you know what I'm saying? Because they start off with the date. Abid is the month. Perret, they're gonna tell you what out of the 3 seasons we had, they'll tell you which season, and then they'll get it down to Heru, which is the day, and they'll tell you which day it transpired on. This is African. Europeans didn't do that. They didn't come in and teach us how to track time. As a matter of fact, if you look at tracking time, they admit that they get it from us, because it goes back down to Athein is the Greek term, which means the forever running, and they're talking about watching the stars and how that our primary observation of the stars running through the sky is how we really start notating time. And so, but basically, I threw out the Murray and Ptah stela for you to go look at the top line on the first register. You'll see the date. That's the first thing you see.
I think what's really important to this is that the concept that he just brought in the beginning was Naphtaliah, which was a calendar system. We had a calendar system. The calendar system did not exist in the other places, but we knew exactly the cycle that we were in, right? But the other groups of people didn't have a calendar system. But then the Assyrians did. The Assyrians, they talked about dates. It just seems that the problem is that the Hebrew or they didn't deal with dates, but everybody else dealt with dates.
But really, honestly, it's because a lot of that literature don't go back to the time that they say it do. So you feel me? So if they can start dealing with dates after the exile of Babylon, then you're gonna start seeing stuff line up. You can find some testaments to Hezekiah's story in archaeology and in the Bible, but you ain't gonna find it from the time periods where they just wasn't there. Like, you know, they made up stories about a prominent past that they have in order to receive some props in Babylon. You know what I'm saying? Because they was trying to get.
Can I add? Whoa. Let me get in. Let me jump in. Don't skip me. Because you said a lot of things, and you said it real intelligently. But you got to stop mixing that truth with falsehood, because it's strangely mixed.
Who you talking about?
And the point I really want to make, I'm talking about divine, right? And he do that. He know he be doing that, right? We know the calendar system is 365 days and a half. So you definitely wasn't talking about indigenous African people when you talked about dates. That's not a European thing. I think that was spoken. Let's be real on who the Hebrews are by the time they become Hebrews. They're Hellenized, they're Persianized, and they're Greekanized people. Plain and simple. There's no debate in archaeology on who they are. And then they're nomadic people. They're not concerned. They're concerned with where they're going to graze their animals. You know what I'm saying? They move, they goats, they sheep. That's what they do. But why do we make them more than what they are? That they love being who they were. They love the land. They love the seasons. We black people in North America, we try to make them high technology, that's crazy. By the time they write their story, they're just coming into civilization. And they're coming to civilization by way of Persia, okay? By way of the Greeks. The Bible tells us Ezra, they said he rewrites the Quran. Rewrites the Bible.
Thank you.
Okay? But he's a Persian.
Yeah, that's
He's a Persian Hebrew. He went to Persian school.
Exactly.
Let's keep that shit real around here.
100%.
Okay,
Let's not play this game.
Hold on, because I have to go. Let me just ask one more question to the brother Jonathan, and if you want to pick up on it, you can. My question is this. If the ancient Commission actually kept the calendar system, which I agree they did. Again, I studied that stuff, so I understand they did. I don't know. Let me ask this question real quick so I can finish my question. Brother Jonathan, do you believe in evolution?
Oh, definitely so.
Okay. So if the ancient Commissions kept the calendar system, were they able to document when the first Homo sapien came on the scene?
No, they wasn't. But you know what they did do? They venerated Hej-Ur. Hej-Ur is what they call the Great White, which might be a silver baboon. Okay, and they venerated Hej-Ur as the great ancestor. And so we don't know, they don't have the science worked out as good as we do, but in a sense that you can see evolution right there. You can also see evolution in the many forms that Atum came into, the one who split into two, who divided into four, who divided into eight, who came back into one. That's one cell splitting and dividing and multiplying and turning into existence as we know it.
So are you looking at the myths, and you're connotating the myths with a evolutionary system? Because is this the way that the Africans perceived it? And the reason why I'm asking is whether it was Atum They always believed in a creator that established them. Now, if you want to take a myth and add science to it, that's fine. I mean, we can do that today. But you can do that with any myth in antiquity. You can take a myth and you can apply science to it.
Let him talk, you gotta let the brother speak, man.
So just to finish off, the reason why I'm asking that question is because I'm just getting information. Right? I didn't come to debate. I don't have a problem with that, but I don't have the time to debate. I just wanted to ask a question because I know Brother Jonathan has a lot of good information. And I'm just saying that if there was a calendar system, and the calendar system that you said was as accurate and even better than what we have today, I don't know, maybe that's arguable. My question is that if the ancient Cometians believed in evolution in regard to a calendar system, how come they never documented that specifically like they do in a cosmogony of mankind being created?
They did, you just can't see it.
All right, hold on. Hey, Brother Ngodi, we're going to let you go in, and then we're going to get back to our guests right quick. Get ahead in, Brother Ngodi.
All right, peace, y'all.
Peace, bro.
All Africans believe in evolution. And the mythology does tell evolution. I mean, it explains evolution, which is change. Not in the sense of evolution when we're dealing with it from a more modern Darwin way, but Darwin got a lot of his ideas and concepts from earlier myths. I mean, myths tell some truth. I mean, for example, there's a deity in Kemet, which is a symbol of evolution. The term Kepera. Kepera means to evolve. It also means, in Greco, the symbol for evolution is the dung beetle, which means to roll. Bes, which is archaic human looking. Some Cometians refer to him as being the oldest of men. Or when you study the basic periodic table, or if you not just that, let's study quantum from the super subatomic, and you know what super subatomic particles is in a quantum, from quarks, gluons, tachyons, bosons, Higgs boson particles, pions, and all the other gluons. That's the primordial energy that explains when it talks about Hunefer, boundlessness, Kukat, darkness, Amun and Amunet, which is the hidden potential. We know that when energy is at potential state, it's at rest. When it's kinetic, it's at movement. And then you have Nunet, which is formlessness. Out of that primordial state, which is the super subatomic, it becomes what we refer to as the subatomic. When we say sub, that means below the atomic, which is preparing for the atomic molecule structures that we see. What came into being? That was the most abundant element of the universe. Hydrogen is the most abundant element of the universe. But before that, what creates the elements of a proton? What creates a proton is two up quarks and one down quarks. A proton is a subatomic particle. What creates a neutron is two down quarks and one up quark. That creates a neutron. Both of those together, one hydrogen, that produces, from those two quarks, was the light. The light was the most abundant divine spark that animated matter. And that light that came into being was Kepera. You get what I'm saying? Kepera is what came into being.
And Gozi, I think also the point that we need to say is that they were represented by frogs and snakes. So they was represented by frogs and snakes as for a reason. But you can continue. That's important to divine.
Snakes is just symbolic to the currency, but it changed. Absolutely. All those are symbolic to the primordial state, preparing for the atomic state that we see, from subatomic to atomic to molecular to RNA and DNA and all the things that you see in life. So that in itself, the stories and the myth tells about evolution. When you deal with Asar is not a literal person. Osiris is an agricultural deity. He's depicted as green because it represents vegetation. What was going on between Set and Set and Asar? This is when the hunter-gatherers, which represents the desert dwellers, who went against the agriculturists because at one point it was a war. So they had to put it in zoomorphic symbolism to explain processes that was actually going on. People only create myths to make sense out of life. But in myth, there is some truth to it. It is. A lot of truth to it. It's just exaggerated or animated to try to explain something that's really going on. Especially in Kemet, they zoomorphified a lot of stuff based off the natural things around them. They were heavily into science. And then when you talk about a creator, yeah, there's a creator. Without the sun, we don't exist. And other components as well, but the sun is very important if you want to look at that as a creator from a poetic perspective, not literal.
All right, my brother Ngodi, that's been peace, man. Thanks for the call in. Amen Ra Squad Up is in the building.
I love y'all for that. I need that support every time. You know what I'm saying? Black African power.
All right, peace, brother.
All right, brother.
All right, let me say this before y'all go back in. How much time you got? Okay, I want to say this to the viewers that's out there. Let me say this first of all, so you know that I'm not biased towards my Hebrew Israelite brothers. Let me let y'all know that my little brother, Divine Prospect, out there in the Atlanta area, he is on the House of Consciousness staff. He is a member of the House of Consciousness family, and my young brother is out there doing the House of Consciousness thing out there in Atlanta. So that right there is to show you that we have this unity going on, the balance going on, all right? All right, so I want to say that first. My young brother is definitely on point. He is a soldier, and he know his stick. He know his stuff. So peace and black power, shout out, and shalom to my brother Divine Prospect.
Yeah, Divine Prospect raised a few good questions. My answers to them was one, Hedge which was actually a great baboon. They called him the great ancestor. We could always find a lot of our ancestors venerated as Hedge okay? And then we got, I think Brother Ngozi answered the Timahu question or the Naphtaliah question very well, so you know how we do. Yes, sir.
I heard GOCC is calling on the line. It's also, but it is important to look at the 8, the Akdad, and I think Ngozi represented them very well. This is quantum energy, but quantum energy and could be seen in the physical world. It could, and certainly in the quantum world, in the chemical world, in the biological world. So they represented the 8 in the biological world as snakes and frogs, and that's important. I think I always appreciate Divine Prospect's comments because he never really comes with a bias. He is a collector of information, and I think that that's an important trait to have. So a lot of times people see Divine as acting as if he is agitating something, but he's not agitating. He is just trying to clarify a picture. He is in fact a Hebrew, right? So that's important. So you have a question coming up?
Yeah. All right, peace family. I want to let y'all know I got the Elder Gabar on the line from GOCC. He is a Hebrew. This is my brother. I love this brother. He got some powerful information. The brother just debunked Shaka Utmost, and the brother's calling in. Peace, my brother Gabar. What's happening?
Hey, shalom, shalom. How we doing, brother, today?
I'm good, brother. Shalom to you, brother.
Peace. Enjoying the show. Just listening to what you guys are bringing out. You know, of course, I'm disagreeing with a lot of it, but I'm still enjoying.
That's how it's gonna be, right? You know, just to be disagreeable, or just are there any real points of disagreement?
Well, I wanted to address the whole King James homosexual thing.
Go ahead, brother.
And this is something that one of those other things we want to carry and deal with. The history of the legend or the myth that King James was a homosexual came by 2 men. Francis Osborne, and Walton, I forget his last name or his first name. And they were part of the King James cabinet. And they got kicked out because there were many times that people were trying to take King James' life. And they were behind that. Matter of fact, the whole movie V for Vendetta is based on the movie. The movie V for Vendetta.
But that's not.
Yeah, hold on. Let me finish my sentence and you can reply. The guy because the movie is based on a book and a novel. And
all right, brother. Dang, your line cut off. But you was listen. This is what you're doing right here. In defense of King James European homosexuality, you citing us a movie. I cited you the 1617 address from King James to the Privy Council. That's a primary. This.
Okay, your phone dropped. Make it quick, brother Gabar.
All right, be quick. So these guys were trying to kill King James because the British, they were Protestants, and they did not want the Catholics or the Romans Catholics to rule the seat of England. And King James was one of the pioneers to sort of fight against the Romans. When he wrote the king, when he authorized the King James Bible, that was against the Roman decree. Whitland, Tyndale, not Tyndale, Osborne, 25 years later, wrote a book about King James and accusing King James being a homosexual, sleeping with his mother. He was a fat, lazy man, all kinds of accusations.
Can you hear me, brother?
Yeah.
Now, you gave me a movie and a book, and I gave you the 1617 address from King James to the Privy Council. These are his own words.
Right. Well, that book, the accusation came from a book that Osborne wrote 25 years later, that he claimed that he had some letters of King James and his lovers. And it was proven to be a forgery. And I'm going to prove that.
All right, well, I'm not one. I ain't concerned with that.
If you show me the evidence that outside of that book or outside of Osborne and Wilson, because these were the main two guys, and they were enemies of King James. And they waited after he died, 25 years later, to bring this accusation and bring these records. And it was proven to be false.
Okay, now you have.
They were still alive.
Yes, brother, I hear everything. I hear your whole contention, and it's wrapped up in a nutshell. I told you to look at King James' own words in his address to the Privy Council. I think it happened 1617. It's King James' address to the Privy Council. It's his own words. Also, Queen Elizabeth, they had a straight slang term, and I don't know Latins as well, but it was something like, it basically meant Elizabeth was king and James is queen. We can look all of this up, but I'm not trying to make up anything to smear King James. This is just information that I came across with primary attestations. If you would take any moment and look at his address to the Privy Council, which were his own words, you would have to refute that, because that didn't come out of nobody's book or out of a movie. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Well, what I'm trying to tell you, they were writing that came up 25 years later that people accused them. King James wrote himself.
Brother Gabar, to protect Hebrew, right, or Israelite, you have to defend King James.
No.
But that you see that's what you're doing, because he's really irrelevant. It has nothing really to do with the what your text of antiquity that you claim has. This is a modern translations of translations. If you could show me the Greek primary documents, if you could show me the Amoraic, right, primary documents, then we wouldn't be having this conversation. We're having a conversation because this European supposedly had the documents, which we do not have anymore. So I'm talking about the text that he used, or that was used to create the King James Version. We want those texts. If you're not speaking Greek, if you're not speaking Amharic, right? If you're not speaking ancient Hebrew, if you don't have those texts, don't. Otherwise, it's just belief. And so that's our problem with this. I would rather us have a conversation about actual documents in antiquity, even the Passover papyrus or the Elephantine papyrus, right? Or something primary than what King James. There are more than 100 versions of the Bible.
Thanks a lot, family. All right, what y'all want to finish on?
Yeah, well, y'all know, I mean, if y'all got any more questions, I mean, we could beat y'all up all night. Really, that ain't my point. The Madjai just step out, honestly, just to straighten things up, because sometimes we start following the wrong information. And, you know, Brother Shaka did a good job in his attempts in holding down Kemet, and, you know, for his time that he was on. But now, right now, it's imminent, and it need to happen. Y'all need to learn this truth. I'm standing right here. My stuff is public. My work ain't been refuted. If you see some flaws in what I'm presenting, you could correct me, too. I stand for corrections. So, you know.
Of course, we're looking for more questions, but what was more important is that this is after the GOCC rebuttal, so the story is not finished. Live here on Netta TV, Netta Studios is making it happen. This story is continuing. Nile Valley Africans, Sub-Saharan Africans, Africans all over the continent is standing strong, because we are the species, not the race. We gave civilization to the world, but we gave humanity to the world, right? So we shouldn't be ducking and hiding, and we don't have to be imposters. We just have to tell that you have been to Morocco, but you could claim that you are citizens. We can show you passports where we've been to Kemet. We live this. People like Jonathan, they live and breathe this stuff. Netta's bringing it to you live. I'm sorry if I'm being emotional about it, but this is after the GOCC did a good technical rebuttal of some minor points, but he never got to the primary point, family.
Can we blow the premise of the abomination premise that GOCC sat on for his whole video? They basically said that, well, I don't know if we touched on it earlier, but it's worth touching on again if so. They basically said that since what we did in Kemet was an abomination to them, that it could not be found in their text. That argument, it's not logical, it's rather illogical, and let me point out the reasons why again. Because in any culture, what is considered an abomination does not prevent the attributes deemed holy or whatever from being canonized into the text. It's obvious. Like, you're not going to walk through and write the bad parts of any culture into any religious text, but the things that you find holy or that you consider pure, you could mimic those. And furthermore, when the brother started pointing out what all of these abominations were, the first one he brought out was passing through the fire. I had to let him know that that is not even a Kimetic. No one, he didn't understand what passing through the fire was all about. No one from Kemet let their son pass through the fire. It's about burning your son upon a wall as a sacrifice to Moloch, the god Moloch that we mentioned. Actually, if you look into the Bible, you will find out that Yahweh, when we deal with all of the 72 sons of El, Moloch was one of the ones he feared the most. For some reason, Moloch had some type of power when people would venerate Moloch, and it's written in the Bible, because the one time Israel found a great indignation brought upon them is when they ran up on a king who had venerated Moloch, and he sent the Israelites back to where they came from with a great indignation. And you know that really is what they mean when they say the word wrath. It's this great indignation. So he got the wrath of Moloch slapped on Yahweh in the Bible. But anyway, that has nothing to do with Kemet. Burning your sons, Be'ash, which is passing through the fire in Hebrew, this is the way that you venerate the Canaanite god Moloch. Has nothing to do with Kemet. Half of the abominations he's talking about was something they were dealing with internally in Canaan. You know what I'm saying? It didn't go all the way. Now he's talking about divination. We talked about that earlier, correct? I don't know if we was on camera or off camera, but how could someone who opposes divination look for prophecy? You don't even know what the words mean. You know what I'm saying?
Brother that called in earlier, he wanna see if you can come back in. Come on, my brother, you on live?
Peace.
What's up, peace? This is G. Cautious again with Ryan Campbell.
Hey, what's
All right, Reggie. I got a question for you, brother. I've been hearing you talking. You seem like you're talking with some sense. Well, the guys told you earlier. He talked about. I'm hearing an echo, but I can still talk though.
Yeah, go ahead.
He talked. He talked about the Rosetta Stone, basically. He talked about the information that you had, the hieroglyphs, was translated by the Europeans. Would you agree to that?
Yeah, they yes, of course.
Okay, now what I want to touch on is because Jonathan, he says it's about a person that had the information to translate the glyphs. Is that true, Jonathan?
Pardon me, brother. I didn't hear exactly what you said.
There's a person you said, did you name the scholar that had the information that they translated the glyphs? You said Hard Polo or something like that?
Yeah. I said if you look into the ancient work on Metal Netter, you'll find a couple of people. None of them happened. Hard Polo wasn't even Greek. He had a Greek name, but if I recall correctly, he was Libyan. And yes, he did do. I got his book at the house, The Hieroglyphs of Hor Apollo. And if you look into it, you're gonna find out that he didn't get everything wrong. For instance, the Sabird, the Sabird meaning your son. He wrote that down in AD times, way in the hundreds, 100, 200, or something like that. You know what I'm saying? And so it ain't just coming from the school that you're talking about. Now, what you guys make the mistake.
Okay, can you spell that? Can you spell it out for the people? Spell his name out for the people.
Hora, Hor Apollo. Hor Apollo. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Yeah.
Now this is the question I got for you. Was the Coptic language was what they used to translate the Demotic or the Greek?
I would not say that they use it to translate the Demotic or the Greek. I could say, yeah, it's a surviving language that gives us attestations to what they were saying back in the time. But they did most of the work with Demotic and Coptic, between Demotic and Coptic, to establish that the final stage of traditional ancient Egyptian lined up with the newer examples, which were the Coptic. So it goes Demotic into the Coptic.
Do you know what hieroglyphs mean?
Do I know what hieroglyphs mean?
Yes.
Yeah, it mean Metal Netter.
No, actually it means sacred writing. Why was they called it sacred?
Hold on. What do you think? Hold on. You sound stupid. What do you think Metal Netter means?
It means sacred writings, right?
Well, why did you say no then? You trying to build?
Okay, so let me ask you a question. Why would they call it sacred writings? Was this information available for everybody? Why was it only on the tomb?
Bruh, you should go read a book about Kemet. Let me tell you why. The Medu Netter is the language which is more priestly or more wholesome, but that ain't what people walked around talking. People walked around talking and Kim. Okay, it translates to the mouth, of Kim, blacks, really is the words of Kemets or the words of Egyptians. Okay, now, if you want further attestation to that, you go into the Coptic language, and in order to say what I just said, the Coptic language, you say Tiaspi Rin in Kimi. Rin in Kimi is the same as in Kim. Once you learn how to trace triconsonantal roots, you will see that Coptic has the same exact name as Medu Netter. Now, saying hieroglyphs is how you say Medu Netter in Greek. Medu being words and Netter being divine. So saying that it means you don't even know what you're talking about, and I know you know you.
Why was it so hard, brother? Listen, why was it so sacred about this language?
Because the Medu Netter was the script used in order to scribe pyramid text and coffin text. These were texts that were, wait, hold on, let me finish. These are texts that were concerned with the Nisus or whoever had them scribed admittance into the afterlife. Therefore, it will be called sacred writings. Pardon me?
Would you agree that it was a mystery system?
That Medu Netter was a mystery system?
The sacred sacred language, would you agree that it was used by a mystery system?
I would believe that some of the metal netter was employed in what you are calling a mystery, obviously, but I am not going to say that metal netter was a mystery.
Hold on, bro. Let me, I got one more question, and this is different for Reggie and Ngozi now. Okay.
LeRon don't
okay. Now, number one is this. How in the hell did you get that timeline 10,000 years ago? Please tell the audience that. What dating system are you guys using?
The dating system for Noptoplaya?
Okay, excuse me, speak up, Reggie.
I said, are you talking about the dating system of Noptoplaya?
Yes. How did you get 10,000 years AC, BC in those areas? How did you get that?
Yeah. Well, I'll say it in brief, and then I'll let Jonathan, because it's definitely his show. LeRon.
Hey, brother LeRon.
Okay.
What's up, peace, brother? Sundown.
Peace, brother. Before you continue on with your question, did you make your contribution, your donation, brother?
Kick in, bruh.
I got you. I
I can answer that for you. Hey, check it out. What they find out about Noptoplaya at about 10,000 BC, the Sahara was still fertile. See, nobody could go out to Noptoplaya and still live. It's 100 kilometers outside of Nubia, meaning ain't no streams, ain't no river, ain't no water. So the people who set that up had to have access beyond the pottery or the water bags that they took out there in order to make these stellar observations. We know that Noptoplaya is a clock, right? So they had to sit there for a certain amount of time in either order to set up the clock. Ain't no water in the region, so it's been determined that this goes back to a time when the Sahara was fertile.
More than that.
So basically, you said somebody sat on a rock and just observed.
No. That's what Noptoplaya is, a calendar system. But among the how can I say, the monuments that were found, or the to produce Noptoplaya, they also found cattle. So they also was able to radiocarbonate of live flesh in that particular area.
Radiocarbonate, okay.
Right.
Now you're talking.
So, but let's say this. Let's say that Noptoplaya's calendar, right, is actually a child, right, a grandchild of another calendar system in Southern Africa, which is much, much older. So we have.
Can you tell us how carbon date works?
Wait,
That's called the Hebrew filibuster. When
you
start bringing out any little, it's called being anal.
You don't do it. Wait, first of all, if you want to do that to me, sir, are you talking to me on a cell phone? See, you don't do science. So all of a sudden, you want to debate. Wait, you.
Listen.
You want to debate? Okay, so hold on. So let's go. We can leave radiocarbon data out of the. First of all, does Noptoplaya, to your knowledge, exist?
So do you want to?
Does it? No. Yeah. No. Does it exist? Does Noptoplaya exist in your mind? In what you know?
You want to start with astronomical data?
No, I don't want to start with astronomical data. I want to talk about Noptoplaya.
I'm asking you about your dating. That's what I'm asking you about.
Okay, I'm going to do it like this. It predates Kermer. It predates Nile Valley the unifying of Nile Valley civilization. It predates that.
And that's it.
That's not true. I'm more well versed with the Hebrew than you, bro. I'm more well versed with the Hebrew and the Bible than you, and you've learned that on various occasions. Actually, I have. I said Ani Mavin Ivri Chasat a little bit earlier. That means I understand Hebrew a little. You want to keep going? Because you won't even understand what I'm talking about. Ani Mavin Ivri Chasat. I said I speak Hebrew a little. Is that enough? You say anything in Hebrew. Say anything. Say anything in Hebrew right now.
This is my last
can't do it.
And I'm done.
You don't even speak Hebrew. You read the King James Version. You lightweight a square, and you really don't deserve no light on this show we doing. You wasting my time, bro. Let's deal with the dating and Kemet, because we could get to some resolve about that before we move on. Everything you said was primarily correct. Really, it all boils down to they were faced with. Basically, when they got in the area, they was like, hold up, man, why all they stories go back so much farther than ours if we saying that our God created everything? I'm just putting it in layman's terms. So Josephus was faced with that. Eusebius of Caesarea was faced with that. And so was... Yeah, that's the one who counted the days back to 4004 BC, if I ain't mistaken. And also we got Julius Sextus Africanus. When we talk about, but what they were faced with doing is explaining to their people, no, we're actually really as old as the Egyptians. So we got numbers that pop up in this time, because Manetho did not say 36,000 years like some other people have put forth. He actually said 5,400 years. He said from his time. He said that it's, from his time, which was already 200, 300 AD, he said the history spanned back 5,400, like 5,487, 5,400 years, okay? But we have other scholars and other works that they draw from that place the antiquity of Kemet back to 36,000 years. Now, one of the documents, because whenever we looking for, sometimes people look into the mythology wrong. What they do is they look into a mythology for a cosmogony, and they looking at how things were created, but that don't tell you nothing about time periods. You're looking at into the wrong mythology. We have something called the Zep Tepi, which is actually deals with time, because by meaning of the term Zep Tepi, it means the first time. Okay, now in the Zep Tepi, we can start to look and see who some of the quote-unquote ancestors were, and how long this duration of time took from the Kemetic perspective. In the Zep Tepi, if not mistaken, Ptah was first, and Ptah had ruled forever. Now, if we want to take this out of mythology and put it into the proper context, Ptah is the Twa. Or Ptah could be a deification of the Twa. Now, for them to say Ptah had ruled forever, they trying to say the Twa was the first man who had been here forever, basically. After Ptah in the Zep Tepi comes Atum Ra, who rules for 1,000 years. Now, Atum Ra's rule could be a shift from Twa, the original man, coming to another form of man. Well, we go all the way down the line till we get where Europeans have named these certain deities demigods. They actually came up with a certain term in order to discredit Manetho's work, because Manetho didn't say it was no demigods walking around. He said, hey, Ru, I think he was talking about tribes, because I can find these tribes at the time period he's talking about. But when he goes through the quote-unquote Neteru, he'll start with Ptah, take us to Atum Ra, I think he do Shu Tefnu, and then he get into the Carnate Man, which would be Osiris. And then he start going through things, tribes, or however you want to assess them. We get to Set and Heru, and then we know about the unification to where it could have been the tribe of Set going against the tribe of Heru, just like the brother Ngozi brought out earlier, where he said the agriculturalist was going against the farmers. I could back that up. I have evidence to that, because Kemet was really only Kemet. They call it the black land because of the people, but no, let's go in on that. It was because of the soot. It had to do with the people too, but let me explain why it was because of the soot. Because in Nubia and Kemet, we got two different geologies. One is limestone, one is sandstone. Limestone, the Nile's flood can cut through the sandstone, which was in Kemet, easier than it could cut through the limestone, which lied deeper in the Nubia. This was why they had to go travel to get the limestone casings for the outside pier, because it wasn't coming from their areas. So what happened was the Nile's flood could not create a flood plain in the in the limestone. When it got to the areas that was sandstone, it was strong enough to cut a floodplain into the area called Kemet, which allowed those people to be agriculturalists. Me representing Nubia and the Madjai, we was dealing with the bow and arrow, which was one of the first weapons, which was the first weapon to store kinetic energy in the string of the bow, just like the hammer of the gun, and the arrow being the first small projectile missile. So then when it came to being warriors, the Madjai or the Nubians had already learned all of this from hunting down. You see what I'm saying? We was hunting down a game while cats was up in Egypt fishing and picking berries off the tree. So then when it came time for war, that's why we had to go see the Madjai. And it all wraps up into everything we saying. And when we talking about the dating and the timeline, I just wanted to get into some of the reason why Kemet was even Kemet anyway. You know what I'm saying? No, it's all good. I just like thank you for having me. Shoot it out to my people who don't know. I'm in the hip hop thing, man. Just casual from the Hieroglyphics crew. You know what I'm saying? It is what it is. You can check out my work. Really, just look me up. What's up? What's up?
The lines was clear.
Yeah, what's up?
Go ahead,
What's
brother.
up?
Go ahead. Talk about it.
What I want to say is we in the scholarly community, we do not say Paleo Hebrew. All right? It's not called that. We even call it the alphabetic script, okay? Some call it the Canaanite script, and then some call it the Proto-Sinaitic, because they found some of it in the Sinai.
But let me ask you a quick question now, because I know Proto-Sinaitic to be just a tad bit different. You know, we research this all the time. To be a tad different than what he trying to call Paleo Hebrew. What I'm trying to... Yeah, go ahead.
Hold on. Let me finish. Watch this, Jonathan. And so when we speak of Phoenician script, the Phoenician script comes out of the Proto-Sinaitic script, okay? And out of the Proto-Sinaitic Phoenician script, and then you get the Aramaic. And out of the Aramaic, you get the Greek, you get the Arabic, and you get the Old Hebrew. And out of the Old Hebrew, you get the oldest Hebrew inscription, all right? So I'm trying to say, look, we will expose them all day long, 365 days a year. And this is one question for all the crazy Hebrews listening. I'm asking you right now. We do not debate you because you're not our equal. But what I want to ask you is, please, somebody, anybody, give us a goddamn Hebrew museum with Hebrew artifacts, and Brother Uncle shut the hell up.
Woo! Y'all hear that? The brother said give him a Hebrew artifact, a museum. And in the Armor Raw squad, y'all have cut them. So if you can do that, you cut the Armor Raw squad, family. Brother Hashar, if you out there, call back in, brother. I seen you call. As soon as I picked up, the phone dropped, my brother. Call back in. All right, please, Brother Unc.
And then watch this. In writing, right, the French language, right, it says, but the script is Latin, okay? Similarly, the words, those who are dead in Greek, right, are in Coptic language, but the script is Greek, okay? So we can have a Hebrew language, but the script, right, can be something else. That's why you can go in the Bible and find the script, right? Right, talking about Hebrew, but it's not the Hebrew script. It's just the language. Like English, once again, what is English written in? In the Latin letters. But we speak English. Tell these fools to sit down, tell them don't quit their day job, because we're not paying for that foolishness anymore. You got the Madjai in the building, okay, you got his main man right beside him, and they get all in checkmate. Tell them stop being in a religion. See, that's why it's the real black atheist. The real black atheist stands on the coast of Africa and defends all African ideas and principles. Because I don't believe that shit. And I'm standing there with the other core family. The Madjai, Team Osiris, Bernard, and Anime Productions, which has produced a black cartoon. So shout out to Dr. Mayat. Y'all know what it is, man. Anybody can get it from a scholarly level. But we're not playing these little religious games that go for all the Hebrew leaders. I'm saying Annie up. Get them all We can do it any way you want to do it. But we're not playing as fools. Trust me with that. Get them together, Shawnetta, yo. That man that came through and finished y'all off, man. Trust me, yo. We here. We're not believing that shit anymore, Star. And it's over with.
You know what?
That's why the argument is never fair.
Let me
Because
see,
we
let me-
deal
let me-
with believers.
Hold on, let me see if I can get my boy Tazariak, my brother. Shout out Tazariak on. Yo, I'm gonna hit you back up.
All right, bro. Hit me back up.
Black African power. Hell yeah.
All right, let me see if I can get.
Hey, what my man brother Ankh said, I mean, he just cut y'all a little bit sharper than me. You know, I put the gentle cuts. He just come out with the butcher knife and just start chopping it up. But I mean, you can't refute nothing he's saying. You know what I'm saying?
This is Hashar. Let me call Hashar. Let me see if he pick up.
I have a feeling he ain't for some reason.
No, he gonna pick up.
Nah, he ain't. Ancestors is on patrol.
No, we want
Trust me, he ain't picking up.
We want Hashar.
He ain't picking up. Yeah,
Come on,
I just know
Hashar.
it happens,
Don't
man.
let me down, man.
My life is my life. He ain't picking up. I'm telling you how these ancestors work, man. They over there telling them don't do that to yourself. You got a following and you got people.
We had GOCC
Please
calling.
leave your message.
Oh man, all right.
GOCC scholarly.
All right, hold on.
The only person you ain't called is Nazi Yasafel. Nazi
Tazariak.
Yasafel.
Let me see what he got.
Nazi Yasafel.
Nazi cool, but Nazi won't pick up if he know Jonathan on the other line either.
All right, this is Tazariak right
That's
here.
real talk, though. Let's see if Nazi pick up.
All
Peace.
right, my brother picked up. We on live, brother Tazariak. I got your message on King James. You said that's easily debunkable. What are you talking about, brother?
When it comes to the King James being a homosexual, that was actually brought out after he died. I know the brother brought up how something that came up in it was 16, 17 or something like that. That's incorrect.
Hold on,
Brother, I never heard your voice quiver like that, Tazara. You all right?
The captain.
Yeah,
That's the captain.
I'm gonna let you get it together because your voice don't sound too strong right now. So I'm gonna let you get it together real quick.
No, my voice is fine.
Okay, but he's respectful. You gotta love
That's
that.
my brother. We've been building offline.
Hey, Tazariak, while I got you on, brother
Yeah.
Tazariak, while I got you on the line, the brother disputed the fact that Egypt had any type of homosexuality going on whatsoever, and he broke down the science of where he was sucking his own penis. He went in on that.
Yeah, that's okay. Let me finish the King James part since you called me.
All right, go ahead, brother.
King James was actually true. First, about 25 to 30 years after King James died is when those stories came out about his homosexuality. From those that King James had kicked out of his, if we was to say it today, council. And it was ignored back then when the cat, there's a couple guys that tried to do it, and it was ignored back then. It only gained popularity again, maybe in the 1960s or so, something like that, where it started picking up steam again. But that's easily debunked. King James, where he actually wrote the Basilicon Doron, where he told his son not to be a homosexual, not to prune his hands, not to look feminine, not to do anything like that. Now, that's something that's actually written by him. But, you know, this can be easily debunked. The thing with the homosexuality in Egypt, what I'll say about that is homosexuality did exist in Egypt. Even that story of Horus and Seth, where they, I know I've heard Polite, I've heard Reggie say that they never talk about the how the gods felt. Because remember, this is supposed to be, Horus is supposed to be a god, Seth is supposed to be a god, and then the other gods that Seth runs to, when he does this act to Horus, they don't actually get mad at Seth. They get mad that Horus actually allowed Seth to do it.
Well, you're kind of right. I explained that earlier in the show, so if anybody want to look at that, just go to the beginning of the show. But what you put down was true, that because it's expected of an evil homosexual deity, which was Set. I mean, it was expected of him. So they cried because supposedly a righteous God had been molested by an evil one.
Right, but let me just finish my point. Let me just finish my point. An evil God was allowed to exist among your righteous gods. It's insanity to me. That's first, but that's not my point.
What is the devil? What is the devil? What's the devil?
That's the same thing that you
Okay, I'm gonna answer that, but let me just finish my point. The devil is not a god. First of all,
he was the messenger of Yahweh. Hold on, in Numbers. All right.
Y'all also not telling the rest of that story. Not only did Seth have sex with Horus, but they also challenged their manhood by turning themselves into hippopotamuses, going into the water to see who could stay in the water. Not only did Horus's mother chop his hand off because she was also mad, either she did or Horus, she either ejaculated Horus or he beat off, put it in some letters for Seth to eat, and then one of the gods called the semen out of their body. That was the challenge. Now, I bring... Go ahead.
I wasn't cutting you off, my brother. You're right. You have to learn some of the terms in Medu Neter, because semen, the term which is mutut, is also an equivalent to the term for poison, okay? And so, however you find it, the semen in that story, the mutut, or the poison of Heru, if it's not used, basically I could give you plenty of attestations that if it is not being used for procreation, it is considered a poison. So in that tale, which was really a satirical tale, is nothing, it was only like entertainment on a papyri for people of the time. It had nothing to... It was satirical. You understand that, right?
I understand when you're saying satirical, but let me just, since y'all called me, just let me get this in so I can get my point. Because I'm just bringing out the whole story, and then I'm going to tell you my point. So now they called the semen out. Now, just a quick sidebar. Y'all talk about us with the Bible. That is insanity to be a part of Egypt. It is. Hold on 1 second. This is y'all gods. These are the gods that y'all hold high. Horus is somebody that y'all say Christ is copied after. When Christ ain't, there ain't not one story where he got banged in his ass. Straight up. And not one. There ain't not one story where he got banged in his behind where some other god is anally penetrating another god and then going before other gods where they calling semen or poison, whichever way you want to call it, out of the body. Now,
let me just ask you something. You know what you just said. You know what you just said was not true, correct? Because you know, first of all, do you know that no penetration happened in that tale you talking about? Yes or no? Correct or incorrect? No penetration happened in that story. Correct or incorrect? No. Correct or incorrect? Am I?
It can be correct or incorrect.
No, it can't be. It can only be one thing because of how the story goes.
But let me just say why I say it could be incorrect or incorrect. The reason why I say it could be correct or incorrect, because it depends on your source. Prime example.
No, it don't.
Yes, it does.
On our source, because I read it from the Chester Beatty Papyrus. Okay, I read it from the Papyrus Chester Beatty. So I'm not leaning on sources.
Now I hear what you're saying, but your fathers, so to speak, of those texts that you're reading and translating and everything, they're Europeans or they're white people.
Not true.
Well, now when I'm saying Europeans, let me not say European. Because when you talk about Manitos, he's a Greek white boy or whatever.
You're wrong again. Manito ain't Greek. Stop being so wrong. He was Libyan and he was a brother. You really don't know what you're talking about. And I don't know if you want to deal with me. Manito was Libyan. Manito was not. He wrote in Greek. We do have the authors. Half of the time they write who the scribe was. So if you ask me which text you're talking about, I can read the glyphs for you.
I'm not asking for any text. I'm just basing off of...
you can't do the Hebrew dance with me, bro. You just got through saying there ain't no authors of those texts. You just got through saying there were not no... let me turn you down a bit. You just got through saying that there was no authors of those texts, and I corrected you by saying we can find the authors of the text. Half of the time they'll let you know who the scribe was, so that was incorrect.
And now, where do you get that information from?
From reading and from empirical observation. We can show you, I can tell you who the artist there was who carved Akhenaten looking abnormal. His name was Bach. We leave these things in our, they left it to us, so you were incorrect on that.
That depends on your source. And who's more credible than the other?
Brother, you're wrong. It doesn't depend on my source. I read it directly off the walls.
You're allowed to talk. I just want to be allowed to talk. That's all.
Go ahead, brother. Sorry, don't cut him off so you can get ahead and get it in. Go ahead.
Yeah, you can say whatever you want to say back. One of the writers of I think it's, well, I'm not gonna name the name of the book right now. It says how most of the texts have no authors, they're anonymous. That story of Horus and Seth, the reason why when you asked me the original question about anal penetration or not anal penetration, was it correct or incorrect? And I said it could be both, depending on where you go to. Because it says in some stories, Seth is Horus's uncle. And then in some stories, it says it's his brother. Because you have different people translating what you say is your records and coming up with whatever they want to come with. Because Egyptology in its parent form is not black people. It's not. What I mean by that, I'm not saying that the Egyptians aren't black. I'm talking about the actual Egyptologists are not black. So when you say the story of Horus and Seth and all of that, my question to you would be, you're saying that it's just satire, no different than if we was today read like a hip hop, watch a hip hop movie or listen to hip hop music. You're saying a satire like that? Is that what you're going to tell me?
I'll tell you that story is not religious text the way that you try to prescribe it. Like one of your guys doing this.
I'm not calling it religious.
And it's logged. It is logged.
Or is it real?
It is logged in Egyptology as a satire. When they try to figure out what they found, they log it as a satire, a satirical text.
All right, brother Reggie's on the phone.
Captain Tazariak, with much due respect, you believe that ancient Egyptian culture was homosexual. You believe that? Yes or no?
Say that one more time.
You believe that ancient Egyptian culture was homosexual?
Absolutely.
Okay, so if ancient Egyptian culture is homosexual, Abraham, he comes into ancient Egypt. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Joseph comes into ancient Egypt and he becomes a vizier. Is that correct?
He becomes a what?
A chief vizier. A chief.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, that's correct.
Right. He does marry Asenath, right? The daughter of Potipharah.
Right. The only thing I want to say about Joseph is Joseph didn't go willingly. He was sold.
That's fine.
He was sold by his brothers,
but that's fine. But it wasn't so right. But anyway,
I just want to put it in the proper context at all. But I agree.
Okay, so I'm gonna show you the danger with what you're doing, right? Moshe, right? He was raised in the house of the pharaohs, right?
That's correct.
That's correct. So if ancient Egypt is so homosexual, how could all of these patriarchs of your people escape homosexuality?
Hello?
No sweat. That's an excellent question.
Golly.
Come
on, man.
When it comes to, you want me to deal with all three of them in one shot?
No, I just want to show you that you could deal with that, right? But what I'm saying is, Captain, with all due respect, right? Some of these things become unsensible because you know what? It's not that really important, right? It's not important to what your mission is in saving black folks' lives, right? And I respect what y'all do on the street, right?
I appreciate it.
Right? But some of these things become nonsensical because it's out of context. People are not real reading like you. This is what you do. Yeah.
Well, we don't bring up Egypt at all unless y'all ask us about this shit.
Okay, let me. Can I reply?
Let me answer the
No,
brother's
you're gonna put
question
some
that,
more
that he
stuff
said
out. What
about
about
the
all
Moses
this other
thing.
stuff?
Let me just answer that, and then I'll take the next one.
Cool.
When it comes to Moses, of course, Moses was brought up in Pharaoh's house. The Israelites came into Egypt. So, of course, with us saying that Egyptian was homosexual, Reggie's question was, can you just repeat it one more time for me so I can answer it properly?
Man, you starting a whole new dialogue. I want to address the last stuff you said. I didn't even get to address that.
That's true. That's true. Let him address that real quick, to Zoriak.
Because you was talking about set. Yeah, you was talking about. I know we all good, Tazariak. It's just we just trying to straighten it out. Yeah. So I'm gonna start with everything you threw out. No, I want you to deal with me. You start talking about Set and Heru and basically telling me that it all depends on whose interpretation I use. I told you that's not true because I have done the research and read it directly from the Chester Beatty Papyrus. So everything you said about European interpretations of the text is thrown right out of the window. I quoted you the primary and told you that I did the research for myself. So this is how I can tell you you don't know what you're talking about when you're saying it depends on which copy of the text you're using. No, it don't.
It depends on which copy of the text.
What did you say there, my brother?
I said it depends on whose interpretation.
Well, that would be the same thing. That's
not the same thing.
All right. What's the difference?
The difference is, you see how you saying you did your research and coming up with a different interpretation?
Mm-hmm.
The Egyptologists that been studying it hundreds of years before you come with a different interpretation.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, okay, I see what you're saying.
I'm not talking about the text itself. I'm talking about the people that actually study it.
Now, okay, well, whatever difference that makes, I'm clear on what you were saying.
Well, it's been more than 100 years ago.
But let me ask you a question, though, because you said Egyptologists or our fathers or whoever weren't black. I don't really deal with Egyptology as much as I deal with Kemetology, but let me let you know something. All of the guys that GOCC or whoever presented, they were actually Hebrews, bruh. Meaning all of the guys, Egyptologists do not follow Egyptian religions. They have their own religion before they went to whichever institution they learned Egyptology at, okay? So if you want to deal with each of them, we can deal with E.A. Wallace Budge. He prays. Hey, you keep cutting me off now. But you're talking about the Egyptologists who supposedly were not black and they were homosexual or what have you. These dudes were Hebrew. They were Jew or they were Khazars.
Okay, you should probably. You see how I'm talking calm? You might want to talk calm because you kind of lumping everything that I'm saying together.
Okay.
I didn't say. I said the parents of Egyptology.
Exactly.
Were white.
Uh-huh.
I said the Egyptians were not white; they were black. And then with the homosexuality, I'm talking about your gods.
I wrote down what you said, good brother. You said Egyptologists were not black. I wrote it down. I'm sorry, maybe I wrote it wrong.
I did say it.
Yeah.
No, I did say Egyptology. The parents of Egyptology were not black, is what I'm saying.
Okay.
And I clarified it, but they're saying, like, who started the religion of Egyptology, so to speak?
See, that's what I'm saying. Egyptologists, that's what I'm trying to get you to understand. An Egyptologist, that's a study you could sign up at a college or institution. That's most of them have a religious faith as they went into college. And I can point out E.A. Wallace Budge, he praised Christ as his Lord. Okay? When we talk about Miriam Leachium, who brought out all of the most translated almost everything, she went back to Israel and died. Okay? You want to talk about Aleister Crowley? Don't nobody in Kemetology even use him, and he's a homo. Aleister Crowley, no one uses his work, so I don't
use Aleister Crowley
exactly. So I don't even know why the other brothers brought him up. I guess they brought up Breasted, who was also Catholic. None of these people.
If you're going to talk about what they brought up, I can't refuse that.
I understand, my brother. I see what you're saying. But the point towards Egypt, I mean, well, most of the things that you brought up the semen being called out of Set, but you have to also realize the reason why that really happened was to prove to the deities that when the nefarious deity tried whatever his molestation was, that it didn't transpire or that it didn't happen. Pardon me?
So was it real or fake?
It was all of that's fake. See, that's another problem.
Okay, so now if that's fake, then Horus, Seth, and all them gods are fake.
Correct, dude. This is the problem that and let me give you some clarity on this. That's the difference when you can't look. Well, I'm gonna say it the way that I want to explain it. But let me explain it from my perspective. You can explain your perspective. Yeah. What I'm saying is, no, they are mythological characters. Okay, exactly. They're mythological characters. Exactly. You could call it fake if you want to use a term as harsh. I will agree with you and say, of course, it wasn't no Heru standing there doing nothing with no set. They were all, let's just say, dude, I don't want to say fake, but they were mythological characters that were made to teach people. Yeah, they were symbolic of certain things.
More than symbolic. More than symbolic. More than symbolic.
Okay.
They are.
The difference between what thou are and what we are is that Yahweh is real.
No,
Yahweh Shah is real.
That's just you talking some, but you can't prove that. Prove it. Prove it. Prove Yahweh is real. Hold on, I'm asking you to prove it. You just made a claim. Show and prove.
Hold on. I will. Just relax for a second. You don't have to yell. You know I can hear you just as fine. Now, when we on the street,
I'm sorry. Let me let you know something. You're playing back through a speaker in this room, and the speaker is kind of loud. And so I'm matching the volume of the speaker. I should be matching the tone of the voice that's coming through the speaker. That's my bad. That's my bad.
With the trap that you put that y'all just put yourself in permanently, did you ever?
I'm not coming from I'm not understanding. I am not a believer, and I'm not faith-based. I know what is true. You understand what is true as far as the laws, the commandments, and who we are as a nation of Israel. So I'm not dealing on that basis.
My brother, let me tell you what you think you know. What you think you know. I'm gonna let you finish, but right now this is my show, so I'm gonna tell.
I'll leave all that alone as far as that. Like, let me ask you this. Y'all want to deal with like the hyoid ball. The hyoid ball, do y'all know what it is?
I can barely even hear what you're saying. I mean, it said something like you said the higher E bowl or something.
I said the hyoid ball.
The hyoid ball? Now tell us.
The hyoid, I like saying the word thyroid.
Tell us
the hyoid ball.
Tell us what it is, good brother.
The hyoid ball, do you know what it is spelled? I'll spell it for you. Hyoid. Now this bone was found in Israel. And it tells you how old this bone is and how far it goes back. And it's the bone that develops speech. So when you understand and start going back these years and when they find certain things, when you go back to Spencer Wells, and he starts describing about genetic DNA, because he's a geneticist, and he tells you where these people go back. They know who the Hebrew Israelites were. Okay, when you deal with the word Hebrew, a lot of people say Hebrew crossed over. Now I'm going to ask you a question. Did other people cross over?
Say that again?
Did other people cross over?
Cross over what? Because the context of Hebrew meant to cross over a river. So tons of people crossed over a river.
Okay, now when you go into the deeper understanding as far as crossing over, the Egyptians always spoke about crossing over to the other world.
Hold on, but your argument is irrelevant because no one here wants to claim Hebrew. We don't want to be crossovers. Why are you trying to prove that Kemet ain't crossovers? We don't want to be crossovers. We're the Retmech, the Madjai. We're not claiming Hebrew.
When you speak about the priests of the nation of Israel, they had already crossed over to a higher zone that was given unto them by the Most High. These laws, statutes, commandments are impeccable when you look at them. They teach a man how to conduct himself accordingly. When you look, you can't find most of these laws anywhere else.
Yeah, I feel what you're saying, good brother. A lot of what you're coming from is straight based on your faith. You can't prove nothing. You ain't got no primaries. If we start dealing with archaeology, you wouldn't even... You tried to talk about one bone. Name somebody who tried to talk about one bone, bruh. One bone? Do you know if you go into Kemetic archaeology, what you're going to be dealing with? You're going to be dealing with pharaohs buried in gold nebunks, okay? gold in the box. You're not dealing with one bone. When you're dealing with the DNA of a pharaoh, when they did Ramses' DNA and found out he was E1B1A, we wasn't just dealing with one bone found someplace off in the cut. I'm gonna give y'all the floor back, brother, but we don't need to talk over each other, so I'm gonna let y'all have the floor right now.
Hey, listen, I just want, can y'all hear me?
Go ahead, brother. We hear you.
Well, what I don't want to get past anybody is how the brother Jonathan admitted that none of them gods existed.
Hold on. You're right. And I stand by that. We're not, my good brother, Tazariah, we talked, check this out. We talked once at least, and I'll let you know. I'm not up here trying to act like the Kemet literature equates to your Hebrew literature. Y'all the ones who got to say everything is real. We got the freedom of being truthful and honest to say, no, some of these stories were just simply mythology. We don't have to make all of these people Yahweh. And if you want to deal with that fake language you're talking about, all you're really doing is adding an A behind each consonant, coming up with a fake language called Lashon Kadesh. That's not Hebrew.
All that can be addressed, but that ain't why I said what I said. The premise of the Hebrew Israelites is to fix black people. And what we give them is their culture, their identity, and what is real. And what you telling us is that you want us to go to a culture that's not real, to listen to something that's not real, to go to some ancients. Y'all always talk about the ancients. I hear Reggie talking about the ancients. Other people talk about the ancients, which you are now saying are not even real, so you want me to follow something fake.
No.
Now, whether you agree with the Hebrew Israelites or whether you disagree with the Hebrew Israelites, you know how we saying that our stuff is real and true, what we're giving people is their identity. You can't give me my identity because it's fake what you're giving me.
No, now you ready for your correction?
Talk about the pharaohs in the buried with all their gold and DNA and all that. They buried that because they believed that gold was gone with them in the afterlife.
No, not necessarily true. That's a European interpretation. That ain't true. That ain't true. But let me get my good brother. Let me straighten you out on that.
That's why everything happened to it, because there is no afterlife, because they believed in something that was not real. As opposed to us, we believe in something that is real.
I don't want to just turn you down. I don't want to just turn you down. I don't want to be disrespectful. I want to reply to you.
I'm going to hang up. Hey, brother Sean Tazariah.
Yeah.
All right, thanks, brother, for calling in.
Hey, thank you. Hey, let me reply to you, Tazariah, though. Where you was messed up. The culture, hey, Tazariah, the culture is real. Okay, the mythology isn't. That's where you messing up. No, that's not true, because your God is a fake ass guy. Yahweh don't fucking exist. He was the, excuse my language. That's not true. Nobody in Kemet did anything homosexual, and we had the law barring it way before you. We're not gonna let's not deteriorate the discourse. I'm gonna let you talk. We don't want to deteriorate it because we getting hyphy. Go ahead, bro.
Jonathan, Reggie.
Yes, sir.
Y'all check out Abishai. All right, y'all looking for something and talk about the Tanakh and all that. Abishai is the grandson of Aaron, okay? And he's the one that wrote down what is known as the Samaritan scrolls, the Samaritan Tanakh. So when you want to look for things, they there. You just ain't looking in the right places because you got a bias opinion and a biased mind.
Nah, not true. I was raised as a Christian. I got off of what y'all was on at 13 years old, bruh. I got off of that stuff y'all was on at 13 years old. But give me the name of the brother, my good brother. Give me the name of the brother you just told me to look up. You said Abishai. Spell it for me. Spell it for me. No big.
Okay, now if it is left to the night, talking about text was dead. So we know where our guys are.
You got to talk slower. We can't.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm missing you a little bit.
Don't be beat in that way. That ain't nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, you know, it's a good thing that what y'all brothers is trying to do, but y'all got to come back into the law, statutes, commandments of the Heavenly Father, man. That's going to fix our people. All right? Get these young niggas stop being faggots. Get these young men to wake up and take care of their homes, their children, and their women. All right? Get these women in order understanding that they got to be behind their men.
Black people do what they talking about. Hey,
Yo, I got respect for y'all, but y'all pseudo, and Sonetta ain't cutting y'all off. I'm cutting y'all off. We don't need to hear none of that fake shit. Let's keep it 100. You talking about we need to get back to the commandments and the statutes of the Most High. Half of y'all probably learned that while y'all was locked up. Let's keep it 100. You ain't out here tossing out no true knowledge that you went and besought for yourself. You got put in a precarious situation and you came back Hebrew. So stop acting like you really migrated to the information out of your... I do this every day. I sit there for no reason and read this metal netter and give you this glyphs. And all about y'all trying to slander the ancestors with the strongest claim y'all got, which is homosexuality. Y'all is on some bullshit. Y'all fake, and y'all showing me y'all ain't even genuine men. Tazaria, I talked to you offline, and Inky got it recorded. I made you and Nazi submit on that topic. Brother Ankh was on the phone, and I don't even deal with Inky. He got it recorded, and I hope he put it out. Okay? Because you fake. You being fake right now. Now you talking about, of course, Yahweh is just as mythological as any other deity. Y'all the ones, exactly. Elohim are all of the sons of El. Y'all got to excuse my passion. I got just as much love for this and for y'all as vice versa. So it might get heated a little bit. But sitting around trying to do the Hebrew shake or the filibuster, keep talking and throwing out claims that's supposed to trigger the audience into thinking something is wrong with Kemet, man, that's foolishness. Ain't nobody really, I don't even need to stoop to y'all level. I'm leagues above y'all. I wrote y'all an open document and y'all don't want to address it, but y'all got at me on Kemet. So first, go deal with the mother goddess Nana. Show me that y'all could spell and write an articulate document, and then we could move on to the next subject. I cut y'all up, ISUPK, about the mother goddess, and don't nobody want to respond to that. So stop trying to do the Hebrew shuffle, throw out little pieces of information to bedazzle the crowd, you know what I'm saying, to avoid the information while you slandering your own ancestors looking stupid.
Live on Sonetta TV and Sonetta Studios.
Yeah. What up, Cesaria?
Okay, Jonathan, you keep saying that I said something about the homosexuals or whatever.
No, let me say something. This is what I said. Me and you had a less heated conversation. Me, you, Nazi, Yashavel, brother Ankh. Yeah. Well, but I'm heated because you're standing in front of the people and you changing your demeanor to make me think you fake. I haven't even had the opportunity to beat you yet, and I already could call you on being fake. Because I'm telling you, we all sat on the phone and you came to a different conclusion. Let's call Nazi Yashavel right now and see what happened. Yeah, call him. Let Nazi ain't gonna lie. He ain't got no reason to lie for ISUPK. Nazi will tell you what happened on the phone. My point is, you agreed. No, stop trying to do the Hebrew filibuster. Just let me finish, then I'm gonna let you talk. You agreed that there was no homosexuality in Kemet off the air. He agreed.
That's it. Cesaria agreed to that.
Yes, off the air. Come on, love. Keep it real one time. You could come to Cesaria.
I don't have no... Can I answer now?
Go ahead.
I don't have no recollection of that.
That's cool. Well, we know when people say they ain't got no recollection, they a fucking liar. Because who say they ain't got no recollection?
No, don't curse.
Yo, I'm me, though. On 100. Excuse, good brother. Excuse my cursing.
Jonathan, I'll let you tell me what you said I said, now let me respond. Because you didn't like that I say, not to my recollection, because you said that makes it seem like I've been lying. Anybody that knows the Israelite school of UPK, let me answer, huh? Anybody that knows the Israelite school of UPK, our stance on Africans is that they are homos, from Sodom and Gomorrah and everything, and that's what the white man learns from them. That's why they embrace Egypt. That's why they embrace her. That's why they got a phallus in D.C. because they copying the. So when you say that I agreed that there was no faggots in Kemet, I did not say that.
But hold on, Captain.
Let me tell you something.
Captain.
I would never say that there was no faggots nowhere.
Hold on, man. I'm ready.
But Captain, here's the thing. The most important thing about this thing is that in the Commandment Keepers with Rabbi Matthews, right? He said he came from Africa, right? It changes with Abba Bibbins. With Abba Bibbins, he brings in a whole new type of thinking that was different than what was going on in the commandment keepers, right? So this concept that you're making up comes from Abba Bibbins and Ariah and Yaqub, but it didn't exist with the commandment keepers. So it's only since the 1960s. It's only since the 1960s. So this because the commandment keepers, Rabbi Matthew says that he comes from Ethiopia. F.S. Cherry says he comes from Ethiopia.
Hold on 1 second. I just want to say something. You know, I'm getting excited, and you know, I don't mean no disrespect to you brothers, but it is what it is. We could cuss, scream, yell, and holler, and come back to what it is at the end. Right now, I'm not gonna tame none of my passion because I'm passionate about this. So if I got to say you, exactly. But hold on, because you said something didn't happen.
We got Nazi on the phone.
Oh, we got Nazi on the phone? Yeah. And we also got Brother Ankh on the line. Nazi, how you doing, Nazi Yashavel?
What's good, family?
Everything's good. I'm just building with the good brothers. And I don't want to, I ain't trying to do nothing, but we had recorded a conversation when Minister Inky had recorded all of us talking offline. It was a real cordial conversation. And I don't expect you to vilify Tazariah and say that he agreed that, but so let me find better language. Let's say that we all came to an understanding within that conversation about the ancient cultures and how things transpired in Egypt. But he tried to make me out to be a liar. But Brother Ankh is also on the phone, and he was right there.
All right. We all agreed that none of the cultures had homosexuality like that. The Hebrews. All right. I remember the conversation we had. What was this Tazariah in homosexuality in Egypt?
Thank you.
Never has that happened. That is Tazariah's bread and butter.
Pardon me?
So Tazariah never mentioned that. Tazariah never mentioned homosexuality.
It's getting the echo, so I'm just trying to be really clear on what you're saying because the conversation was recorded, remember? This is when I first jammed y'all up with Ismi Stewart, and you was talking about a Stewart, and I said, since you talking about Stewart, well, let's talk about Ismi Stewart. But the conversation is recorded. It's no big deal. I was just asking the man why he was recanting the way he was acting offline, but it's all good.
Can I explain what happened? I'm outside. Oh, because it's so many echoes. I don't know what's going on right now. It's too much. I can't hear. All right, cool. I was talking. One of the things I was saying, I think when we talked about the conversation that we had. Yo, I got to roll out, so I'm sorry, family. Yo. Hey, yo, I got to roll out. I got to meet somebody, man.
Yeah, I just want to let y'all know. Hey.
Yeah, what's up, y'all? I gotta go.
One question. I was like, I'm for one time. You gotta go as to prove Yahweh.
Yeah, I gotta go. It's important, but it's been nice. I've been trying to get y'all on for a long time. Now I got to roll out, man. I gotta jump in this cab real quick.
All right, we gonna build more in the future. Y'all have a good one. I'm about to.
Hotep Shalom.
Hey, you Reg. Yes, sir.
Hey, Jonathan.
What's up?
You and Reg, I guarantee you. Y'all ain't gonna put your dick in your mouth and explain nothing to nobody. Guarantee you that.
Aye.
You know what I'm saying?
Aye, get off that bullshit, bro. Aye.
This weekend, so I gotta go, y'all.
Aye, get off that jailhouse knowledge you spitting around, man. We got some intelligent brothers that came beyond that stuff you learned back in the lock. You know what I'm saying? Straight up, you ain't impressing nobody out on the block like that. Like that's just ignorant. You don't have to go there. But. Hey, look, you know, I'm saying it's kind of disrespectful because you really know nobody getting down like that, but you just trying to make a point.
He's making a point with the guards.
I'm sorry. Hey, let me say something, my brother. I'm sorry. You were not on the phone earlier when I explained that.
No.
Listen, kid. I'm just saying I'm trying to make a point, and my point is that
he was talking about
exactly.
To do that don't make no damn sense. That's all.
But did you see my ex?
Now you take that offensively, then that just goes to show.
Nah, because you said something different. Not true. You said I wasn't gonna do that, and that was childish.
Listen, let me tell you, if that was in the Bible, there'll be nobody
Yo, you want to hear what the brother got to speak? Go to where he's standing at on the corner, because right now I'm a shut down artist. Y'all on black ice. Listen, what you did was you said I would not do that demonstration, and I consider that to be childish. It's an ad hominem. It's what y'all good at doing, trying to attack a man to divert the information from being revealed. I said that's childish, and I'm not going to entertain none of your little foolery. It's the Hebrew shuffle. You try to rile the crowd up about something that's supposed to be so egregious to where they can't never get the information. But we gonna build more of my brothers out there.
Peace, y'all. Hotep, shalom.
Anyway, if y'all want to believe that BS that they throwing out, go on and follow them. If y'all want to get with the real, go on and Madjai up. Listen to what the Amara Squad throwing out, because ain't nobody got no reason to lie to you, you know what I'm saying?
That shit was powerful right there. The people was going in on there. We had like 200 people in the chat. Yeah. They was like,